what Kerala can do. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our first speaker, Mr. PVG Menon, onto the stage. Yes, over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Someone can put my slides up. All right. Before I start, let me do a quick poll. How many of you are actually working in the electronics industry? All right. How many of you are interested in electronics? Okay, good. So, I have a confession to make. I don't know anything other than electronics. I've spent 35 years in this industry, right? Tried to build fabs. I can see Professor Alex smiling. He knows how I have espoused this. So I will try to keep I will try to use as few acronyms as possible, but if I go overboard with an 3-letter or 4-letter soup, do excuse me. Let me start off. ESDM, Electronic System Design Manufacturing, make it very simple, consists of 5 things. All the hardware that you use, smartphones, TVs, computers, tablets, all of that. All these semiconductors that we consume. Rijin showed his 5G chip, huge achievement for Kerala, but there's a lot more. All the design that we do, VLSI design, embedded software, PCB, printed circuit board design, all the components that are used, from PCB to resistors, capacitors, all of that, and exports. If any of you have bothered to read the Economic Times of late, we keep talking about the fact that we are the second largest manufacturer of smartphones in the world. So, if I can figure out how to make this work. Okay, so I will not bore you with numbers. I'm just setting context. Why is this sector important? It was $200 billion last year, ESDM, and will hit $300 billion by 2030, which is, if you look at it, quite a significant compounded annual growth rate. Where am I supposed to point this? Okay, semiconductors, $45 billion last year, will grow exponentially to hit $100 billion by 2030. We are 3.5% of India's GDP and will more than double in the next 5 years. And employment will again double from 5 million to 10 million in the next 5 years. And those of you, we heard the Honorable Minister talk about inclusivity in his speech in the morning. If you look at contract manufacturing, which is a significant component of this, about 40% of the workforce are women in contract manufacturing. And as India moves to the $5 trillion GDP mark, the digital economy will be approximately 20%, what we call the ICTE. IT, communications, telecom, electronics, and ESDM will be 30% of that. So if you do the math, that comes to the 6.5% of GDP that I talked about. So where is the demand coming from? Mobile phones, everyone has at least one, maybe two. All the accessories that go in, the earbuds and all of that, tablets, computers. Next biggest IT, industrial, so on and so forth. And the last A&D is aerospace and defense. And if you have followed the news on Operation Sindoor, you would know that India designed, India manufactured avionics and weapon systems were, according to the defense forces, what gave us the competitive edge. Okay. I am leading up to a point, so bear with me. This is global foundry capacity. And as you can see here, I apologize, it's a bit of a challenge to read it. Number of new fabs being built, 21 fabs coming up in China, about 11 coming up in the US under the CHIPS Act. Europe is also following, and you have with the European CHIPS Act about 7 odd fabs coming up there. India has one commercial scale fab coming up in Gujarat. It's 12-inch, 300 CMOS, 50,000 wafer starts a month that the Tatas are building in collaboration with Power Chip Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation of Taiwan. This is under the first tranche of funding from the India Semiconductor Mission. If you look at what the Economic Times has been reporting, there are at least 4 to 6 additional fabs that are pending approval once the next tranche of funding, what is called ISM 2.0, which includes compound semiconductors, that is silicon carbide, gallium nitride, which includes display, and which I think also includes one large CMOS fab. Yeah, so global wafer capacity currently is in the 15 to 17 million wafers per month. What is the USP? We pointed there, okay. The important part, right now, if you look at all the media reports, about between 65 and 70% of global silicon supply is from Taiwan. But you will see that in the next 5 years, you will see that China will overtake Taiwan. And in the next 5 years, according to the Yule Group, China alone will have close to 15 million wafer starts a month. Sorry guys, Mr. Murphy never quite takes, all right, could you hit spacebar or something? Okay, and yeah, you could hit spacebar again. Okay, and this is, I already talked about the Tata fab. So now, why did I talk about this? There are some lessons for Kerala as you try to come up with your vision for 2031. One, before I came into this room, multiple people asked me, should Kerala build a fab? My answer is, chasing foundry capacity is probably not the way to go. Why? One, hugely front-loaded capital expenditure. The CMOS fab, 28 nanometer fab that is coming up in Dholera is coming in at a bill of $11 billion. If you want to build cutting edge technology, if you're looking at a 7 or 5 nanometer fab, then you're looking in excess of $30 to $35 billion of investment. Two, you have significant operating expenses and recurring costs. And by the way, 50,000 wafer starts is not a very big fab. If you look at TSMC, they will not build a fab below 120,000 wafers a month. So 50,000 is considered to be a mid-sized fab. And a fab of that capacity will spend in excess of $1.5 to $2 billion a year in OpEx. Three, environmental issues, water. Dholera will take 18 million liters of soft water for phase 1. By the time they expand to all the 4 phases, you're probably looking at 100 million liters of water a day, which means you will have to tap seawater and put in a desalination plant. Number 2, power. Fabs and data centers are enormously energy intensive. 3, you need a whole lot of supporting infrastructure. Sustainability issues, a lot of effluent treatment plants and so on and so forth, recycling, ecosystem challenges. We are still building out the ecosystem even as we're doing it. And it is a very highly competitive and cyclical industry. This industry has ups and downs. So my suggestion would be, I think you need to look at higher value-added services which are end stream, And so my suggestion would be, one, focus on product design. If any of you look me up on LinkedIn, you will see that I've written articles about the need to build products from India, what I call as products that are conceived, designed, and made in India, but for the world. So if you double click that statement, you'll see the entire, in the interest of time, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Two, look at higher value added components that you can integrate. Look at IP design. Silesium is here. You've got Netra Semi. You've got success stories from Kerala which will build on it. EMS will give you a kicker in terms of employment, but there are challenges with making it cost effective. And second, if you could hit spacebar. Okay. Second, there is a big story for fabless. We've got companies here which are doing fabless, and Alex, I'll take 1 minute more. The entire semiconductor product value chain is disaggregating, and that gives a fantastic opportunity for a state like Kerala, which can go after very high value work, very knowledge intensive work, and build it. And to make this happen is not going to be easy. One, you will have to reimagine the curriculum and look at how you deliver it. I think what Digital University Kerala is doing is a model. I'm sure, Alex, you'll talk about it later or in one of the sessions. But the conventional chalk and talk has been replaced by a more do it and learn it kind of model. I think this has been covered extensively. Some of you in the state should know it. As I said, more focus on more knowledge intensive work. And I was very enthused by the remarks of the Honorable Minister about, and the Chief Minister about, how Maker Village is being reimagined, which is you are looking at moving into a more inclusive model of going after distributed innovation centers. And I think even for education, you will have to look at it where you will have a tier 1 institution acting as the hub with the not so fortunate colleges attaching to that hub, and joint projects with industry mentorship. And I think everyone has been talking about bringing in more industry focus and mentors. So to sum up, these are your strengths. This has been talked about even in the inaugural session, that you are, as a state, Kerala has the ability to execute on extremely high-skilled projects. I've talked about the independent design labs, independent design houses. And the other thing I think you should look at very seriously from a policy perspective is encouraging test labs and certification, because this is an extremely high-value activity, high precision, high value. And we as a country spend a lot of money getting certification from overseas. And that is value capture that you can do in the state. And finally, please remember, Kerala competes with all the other 29 states in India, 28. Kerala is competing against the other 28 states. So this is the era of competitive federalism. There is a reason why large projects have gone to Gujarat or Maharashtra or Tamil Nadu, because the states have marketed themselves very hard. So I think there are lessons that Kerala has to learn. You have a story to tell it hard, right? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And I think we take questions again.
Thank you for that insightful presentation, sir. Our next speaker is Professor Rajesh Harishchandra Zile from Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay. He has served as the director of RFIC at MaxLinear in the USA. His expertise lies in RF, analog, and mixed signal IC design, and he has mentored numerous chip design innovation and startups. We are honored to have him share his insights on the topic, opportunities in chip design and fabrication. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Rajesh Zile onto the stage for the presentation.
Just waiting for the slides. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Namaskaram. എന്നെ കേരള സർക്കാരും റിക്കോർഡ് കേരള കോൺഫറൻസിൽ ക്ഷണിച്ചതിന് വളരെ അധികം നന്ദി. പിന്നെ എൻ്റെ ചിന്തകൾ സെമികണ്ടക്ടറിൽ പങ്കുവയ്ക്കാൻ അവസരം തന്നതിന് വളരെ അധികം നന്ദി പ്രകടിപ്പിക്കുന്നു. That's all I know. So I'm a professor, and sometimes my students teach me. So this is an example. I hope they have done a good job. Alex? Okay, good. I hope you got what I'm saying. Okay, so today, I think this is, let's see if this play is working. Huh? Yeah, oh, this one? Or maybe you can just hit, yeah. Okay, so what I'm showing you here, and okay, go back please, go back. What I'm showing you here is a little bit busy chart, but it has a lot of information packed. On the x-axis, I'm a teacher, so I would like you to stay quiet. I go very hard at my students because I ask them questions. And okay, all right. Now that you're quiet, let me go, because there is a lot to learn from this chart. And then I'm going to tell you a story about India. So hopefully it will be interesting for you and you will not talk. On the x-axis, what you're seeing is year. And on the y-axis is number of transistors on a chip. So if you look over here, somewhat over here, is in 1999, and then today we are at 2 nanometer technology. All of you are familiar, the iPhone 17, you know, you have so many billion transistors in 2 nanometer technology, and there is a huge amount of development that has happened in the space of transistor. Okay, so I wanted to tell you history first before we go to the future. Basically history and where we are today and what's it going to look like in the future. There is still a lot of talk in the back. I think people who are, can you please stay quiet? Guys in the black with the black shirt, please stay quiet. Calm down, please. Good, okay. And do not talk. Okay, all right. So the semiconductor manufacturing in India started around the same time as Taiwan, 1984. And then we have a semiconductor lab in Mohali, 5 micron CMOS technology. I actually worked on 5 micron CMOS technology when I was at IIT Bombay. And this technology was taken from other companies. And it advanced to 0.8 micron CMOS. We were just a couple of years behind the cutting edge technology at that time. Unfortunately, 1989, a fire completely destroyed SCL. Okay, and as you know from Moore's law, every year the technology is making huge change. Okay, and 1997, it got restarted. We got the SCL going again, so let me tell you a little bit about semiconductor lab, SCL. Okay, this is not working out very well. So this is kind of giving you the background information so that we can focus on what Kerala can do. Okay, so SCL was by the government for the government. It was for mainly Department of Space, and now it's under MIT control. Makes chips for satellites and defense application. Limitation are basically high volume production. And the limited investment in advanced semiconductor manufacturing equipment, currently at 180 nanometer CMOS. So I joined IIT Bombay about 9 years ago. At that time it was at 180 nanometer technology, and still it's 180 nanometer technology. So 9 year space where the whole world is zooming through, we are still at 180 nanometer technology. So there's definitely a concern there. So the earlier approach for Fab India has been, by government, for government, no incentive for huge capital infusion, and outdated technology, not very competitive for global markets. And main issue at that time was the foreign exchange. We didn't have that much foreign exchange. So, of course, we have to feed so many people, we have to bring so many people out of poverty, so the priorities were different. It's very easy to blame looking back, but then we have to understand the constraints at that time. SCL Bell couldn't compete internationally, so we were only doing our own stuff. Also, there were some issues in terms of tax policies, and this is something that we can learn from. Specifically, the Vodafone case that happened, it really got us into trouble because of the, global investors. They looked at India always suspiciously. And there was poor environment for business at that time. So Fab India became very unattractive for investors. And at that time, COVID hit. And chip shortage, suddenly everybody woke up at that time that, oh my God, I cannot make any cars anymore because there are no chips. And the foundries were running very well, but they were not making chips for what we wanted them to make because we stopped our orders. And it exposed a weakness in the semiconductor supply chain. And then everyone realized, all countries realized fabs are basically for national security. And as a result of a CHIPS Act, our own government started heavily investing into this. Okay, so the new Fab India, I think all of you know who that is. Our minister, honorary minister Ashwini Vaishnaw, and so the full government thrust is now behind the semiconductor program. The development, it's not just the semiconductor fabs, but actually it's the whole entire ecosystem which needs to be developed. Because as the previous speaker, Menon sir, talked about, it's not just the chips that you make, you have to make so many of them so that there is a constant, it makes sense to make these chips. So we are looking at a holistic policy for design and manufacturing and assembly, and this is kind of what I feel is our Taiwan movement. But unfortunately, it's 40 years late, but it's okay. We are a big country. I think we'll make it because our population is very young, and we have a lot to look forward. So let's talk about Design India. This is the world where I come from. My about more than 2 decades of experience has been in designing chips. So 20% of the world design engineers are from India. And they are, doing a lot of development in India. About 3,000 chips are designed each year by 30,000 designers. The population is very small. Imagine. Now, I'm adding about 200 of them every year because they get trained in my lab. So I feel fortunate to be able to push them in, nudge them in that direction. Okay, I think I need help there. So one of the things I see as a teacher, as a professor at IIT Bombay is how the students are acting, okay, in the current situation. And my observation has been that students are looking at learning all these, design, learning how to do semiconductor design, chip design, advanced design, but more as a transaction. So they're always looking for jobs in MNCs. I mean, you know all these names, and all of them are here for a purpose. Okay, all these companies are here in our country for a purpose. They're here to make profit. Okay, and where is that profit going? That profit is going back to their mother country. It's not being, we feel that we are getting salaries and we are getting dal chawal on our table for our designers, but the main profit, the IP, is owned by other countries. So what I feel, and I tell all my students that, we need to focus on the INCS, which is, they are India-focused companies. We have so many companies here, and I think we should add your company in here too. So Signal Chip, Sankhya Lab, Moss Chip, Verve Semi, HCL, Mbit, Aura Semi. All these are companies which have started doing design in India for India, and they are developing chips in India. So I think we have super skilled design engineers from IITs and many institutes, but they need to start getting into this space with all these companies, so that whatever we develop for India. And there are many other programs by our government, DLI, Chip to Startup program, which I am part of, Alex is also part of, and many other probably here are part of that. And these are super good program by our government, which is raising the awareness that, hey, we need to start playing in this field. Okay, can you go back? Okay, all right. So now, somewhat, the spectrum of the Semiconductor India program. We have, I think Menanji already talked about various things which are going on in India. The semiconductor fab, the Tata fab, which is a PSMC fab. Although it's a little bit of an older, a lot older technology, but its application, it's a great stepping stone for us. We need to get there before we start jumping even higher, and we need to get proficient at it. And there are many other things which are going on, like for example the OSATs, and these are all various companies from other countries who want a foothold in our country, right? What I feel is that the India's chip story is just beginning right now, okay? We are at this point, the hockey stick point. I feel it because I have a pulse of the next gen, because I see them every day. So the fab needs all kind of engineers. Okay, I think that's something that we as a country tend to be missing. And I think a lot of it goes to our parents also, because every parent wants their children to be, they have to be doctor, engineer, they have to be doing, they have to join Google's and Microsoft. That's what they're dreaming about, right? But then when we talk about fabs, we need all sorts of engineers. Currently we are latched on to the CS and EE curriculum all the time. Engineers from all core disciplines are necessary when we running a fab. And one of the disadvantages that we have is it's our mindset. The students, in my opinion, which could be wrong, they want to, they're latching on to, more of a software type of jobs, because, they don't like to do things with their hands. And I think the new generation needs to come out who likes to do things with their hands, build things with their hands. And I think that's something that I see a lot of that being done in this Technopark over here at in Kochi's Technopark, right? Yeah. So the future is bright. If we light the fire now, we may get burned out, but there'll be a lot of light. But that's okay, because it's a good beginning. What can you do? I think this is what I tell all my students, and I'm shameless to tell you all the same thing, is you have to stick around. Many people are exiting the country, they're going to other places, but my message to everyone, I think there are a lot of students here also, is just stick around, be patient, and be part of this next big thing. It's coming, and I can see it. Thank you very much. And that's my BSMC, just like TSMC, hopefully there'll be a Bharat Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation not too far away. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is Mr. Libin TT, Scientist F at the Center for Development and Advanced Computing, commonly known as CDAC. Mr. Libin has been at the forefront of India's indigenous semiconductor movement, leading initiatives in processor design, RISC-V architecture, and electronic system design and manufacturing tool chain development. He'll be sharing his thoughts on the topic, indigenous chip initiatives, communications, and IoT solutions. So please welcome Mr. Libin TT for the presentation.
Yeah, very good afternoon to all of you. So first of all, I would like to thank Professor Alex and the entire organizing team for giving us this opportunity. So I will be quickly going through the what are the activities which we are doing for the indigenous chip design initiatives. The same problem, I am also facing the same issue. Yeah, some of you might be aware CIRAC is the premier R&D organization under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. We are carrying out research and development activities in electronics, IT and related areas. So as you are aware, CIDAC is also formed in 1988 as a scientific society specifically for building supercomputers. So as of now, we are also executing different programs to build indigenous supercomputers across the country, and later in 2003 different societies are merged together and now we become a bigger organization. We have now presence in 12 locations across the country, and we have around 17 design centers are also there. So we are working on different technologies. So one of the main focus areas is the high performance computing, microprocessor design, strategic electronics, quantum computing, artificial intelligence, cyber security, and another important area is the education and training activities. And what is our contributions in indigenous technology development? So we are pioneer in electronics R&D development activities, and currently we are executing a microprocessor development program funded by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. As part of the program, we have developed a series of microprocessors known as Vega, which is targeted for small embedded IoT applications to a high performance embedded applications. So these processors are actually now we are making available as part of the DLI and C2S program for people can build their own product using this indigenous microprocessors. And we have also designed and implemented different high performance computing systems across the country. And now we are moving on to the next level of National Supercomputing Mission 2.0, where we are focusing on developing completely indigenous supercomputing systems. And in the indigenous chip initiatives, as part of this particular microprocessor development program, we are designed and we are fabricated 3 chips as of now. The first one is the Tejas 32, which is the heart of this Tejas 32 is our 32-bit microcontroller class Vega microprocessor, which is running at 100 megahertz and fabricated in Siltra 180 nanometer. And the second chip is, as earlier mentioned, it's fabricated in SCL Chandigarh. So we are also facing the same issue when we are going for this fabrication. We are always depend on the foreign foundry, so that we are not able to achieve that much of performance. So the Tejas 64, even though it is a fully indigenous, we are able to achieve only 80 to 100 megahertz performance. And the third one, we worked on this Dhruv 64. It's a dual core RISC-V CPU based system. It's also fabricated in 28 nanometer, and we are expecting the chips in a 1 or 2 weeks time. So all this, and currently our focus is on the Dhanush 64, which we are going to fabricate in 7 nanometer technology, and the targeted frequency is 2 gigahertz. And all these systems, all the SOCs which we are listed here, it's completely indigenous. The complete design is happened in CIDAC Trivandrum, and the only fabrication we have done few chips outside, and all the development systems are also based on the same SOC, will be available in a couple of months time. So as PVG and the previous professor is also mentioned, so it is very difficult to set up a fab in the states like Kerala. So our focus is more on the design aspects. So here our more focus area should be how we can provide support for the electronics design and automation EDA tools and the R&D support, and how we can develop skilled manpower and strengthen the semiconductor innovation. And there are a lot of investment frameworks is also needed to build a self-sustenance, competitive design ecosystem in India. So currently in CDAC, as part of the different programs, so right now CDAC is the nodal agency for implementing the C2S and the DLA programs. So we have now established a lot of ecosystem for this semiconductor design. So as part of the chip design C2S program, so we have, next slide. As part of the C2S program is more focused on the skilled manpower development in the area of SOC and ASIC design. And as part of this program, people will get access to reusable IP cores, and they will also get support for the design and manufacturing their products in different technology node, as well as they will get the post-silicon validation support. And as part of the program, Chip-in Center now established collaboration with different design EDA tool companies, then the other foundry support companies, so that we are able to provide the complete ecosystem for the design and manufacturing. As part of this program, right now, around 290 institutions are supported under this C2S scheme, and around 91 projects are now being implemented from 88 startups across the country. And how we can strengthen our R&D in Kerala. So to create a robust statewide semiconductor ecosystem, so rather than duplicating all the efforts, so we can use the existing infrastructure in collaboration with MIT and Chip-in Center for tool access, prototyping, and silicon validation. And as mentioned earlier also, the design, always the design manufacturing is a huge task, and we need lot of capital expenditure also. And government is now supporting under the DLA scheme up to 50% of the expenses with a maximum of 15 crores for the design in India. And we can also think about similar scheme integrated with DLA for implementing the support in Kerala also. And next slide. We can also implement another initiative like one tapeout per institute per year kind of initiative, where the academic institutions also will be get interested into this kind of chip designs. So we can also give recognition by providing incentives for their innovative, impactful designs. So that way, this will help us to build a continuous talent pipeline for the semiconductor industry. So as a conclusion, to position India and Kerala a global hub for semiconductor design and innovation, so we can leverage the CDAC expertise for Kerala's semiconductor roadmap to foster collaboration between the academia, startup, and government. And we can also provide funding aligned with the national initiatives like DLI and Chip to Startup program. So this will definitely encourage hands-on innovation, open source adoption, and skill development. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. Our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Rijan John. He's the CEO and co-founder of Silesium Circuits, one of Kerala's promising semiconductor startups working in analog and RF design. He has led early-stage chip tape-outs and developed circuits for communication and IoT applications, collaborating with global foundries and design partners. Today, he will continue the discussion on indigenous chip initiatives, communications, and IoT solutions. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Rijan John onto the stage.
Hello everyone. So when you have your mentors, advisors, and professors listening to you, you naturally, get that kind of tension. Yeah. And on top of that, almost all the points that I wanted to share is beautifully covered by all the previous speakers. So I'm in soup. Yeah. So specifically on this particular topic, Recode Kerala Vision 2031. Yeah. So just giving you an overview about the entire electronics and communication related ecosystem. So this gives an understanding about almost all the technology, electronics and related equipments will be connected to some sort of a communication network. That could be a wired communication network, could be a wireless communication network, but still, end of the day, going forward in long run, almost all the devices will be connected to a digital technology communication network. And this gives, I've taken this from Statista, which mentions that now give an overview about IoT and its penetration in future. If you look at the sectors that are listed in this, there is nothing that is not part of any of these sectors that will be there as part of the technology in future. Right from agriculture, forestry, fishing to the consumer electronics. Almost all these devices will be connected some way or other to the internet. So IoT is going to be one of the most promising sector in future. And what makes this relevant in the current scenario? So there is one thing that is common to all of these, and that is semiconductors. And specifically on the subtopic assigned to me, indigenous chips for communication and IoT solutions. Yeah. So I would like to share with a testimony. This is the chip that I want to showcase with you. This is a chip that is designed in India, architectured in India, laid out in India, and the highlight is the entire team is based out of Kerala. So this also makes it made in Kerala, made for India and made for the world. The reason why I am specifically sharing this is because the kind of ecosystem that we have for the fabless industry at this point of time is huge. The previous speakers have touched upon all these different government support schemes and related aspects, but I would like to specifically share more about how this is relevant in the Kerala's context and how we as a team, as a part of the ecosystem beneficiaries or contributors, how we can take this forward. Yeah. So there are three areas that I have considered. One is the academia, second is the startup, and third is the scale-up ecosystem. So how many students are here? Yeah. All right. So what I strongly request, if you look at the academia and related ecosystem in Kerala, we have one of the best academic institutions. There is a lot that you can learn. Focus on the microelectronics related domains. Try to work closely with your professors, and majority of your professors will be working closely with some of the industry. Yeah? So that will give you a hands-on experience. Professor Jale was sharing about how he is contributing 200 manpower, a skilled resource to this niche electronics or semiconductor domain. So work closely with your professors, get the basics, try to understand what is the niche that you want to focus, what is the skill set. Next come, and in academia there are multiple programs. Already chip to startup is there, the design link incentives are there. So there are various programs that will help you to get the cutting edge experience in the relevant sector. The second thing is the startup ecosystem. Yeah. Once you have an experience, or once you can partner with your professor or someone with an industry experience, there is an opportunity for you to start your own venture in semiconductor space. Multiple schemes, design link incentive, powered by center, and the state government also offer a lot of supporting schemes for you to start your own venture. That is an opportunity that you can take forward as a next step. And third was the scale-up ecosystem. That is where more the government and the enablers, for example, in the context of Kerala, we have Kerala Startup Mission, Maker Village, Info Park, Techno Park, and all those ecosystems can help you scale your venture to the next level in terms of manpower, in terms of resources, in terms of chips and IPs. So in nutshell, there is a lot of opportunity that we in India, in Kerala, that is evolving. The only thing is you need to have that right guide, the mentors and advisors who will help you out to guide you on what to do it and how to do it. And with that overview, I would like to conclude and will be open to questions in the next session. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. Our next speaker is Mr. Yogan Senthilkumar, CTO of IVP Semiconductor, with a distinguished track record in test, design, and engineering of mixed signal and RF chips. His experience in steering engineering teams makes him ideal to present on the topic, Design in Semiconductor Startup Ecosystem. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Yogan Senthilkumar onto the stage.
Thanks for inviting me for this wonderful session, and thanks to Alex to be a part of Recode Kerala Vision 2031. Today I'm going to talk about three areas. One is to give a broader picture, what industry plays in making a semiconductor chip and where India stands, and some learnings from there. The other aspect I'll be talking about is, with the current scenario, what kind of products are being developed in the semiconductor ecosystem, and what India could target. And the last slide I will talk about is what Kerala can take from there. These are all my own perceptions based on my understanding and talking to a few of these people. I hope I'll make you interesting to look for the next 9 minutes. So there are two things I have here. The chip industry, where is India now? So we have customer needs and standards as a base point to start any chip. Our friends here are designing LNA for 5G application. But look at, for India, we need to understand the customer needs. Europe, Japan, probably Korea, and mainly in the US, they are able to understand the customer requirement and what we can make it in a way that as a product which makes a differentiation. So most of the cost goes into there. And of course, you need to make sure that it is obeys certain standard, that it is environmentally friendly. For example, if you make a cell phone, how much RF power it radiates, is it safe for human? So there is a standard behind it. And for these, you need make chips. Right now, it is mostly imported. Maybe there are few companies are already in the verge of making silicon that can be put into a product. But right now in India, these are mostly imported. To make that chip, there are industries who are involved. First thing is the EDA tools, and the next one is the chip design, Fabless or IDM, whoever it may be. And if you look at it, India is, I think, in my opinion, well positioned. EDA tool vendors, all they have their R&D here. So we play in the making of the EDA tool, and thereby we know the knowledge behind it, which is a great advantage. So I gave a green signal for that. And at a chip design, there is a famous statement that my boss used to make, Rajamanikam, CEO of IVP Semiconductor. There is a Indian in every chip we use, but there is no chip made by an Indian yet. But I think we are breaking that rule. It's just a matter of another months or years to here. And I saw in Kerala you already made a LNA chip. I hoping that it will go into a particular product very soon. So that's what we need to make. And fab and package, when I graduated, I joined a company called SPIC Electronics. That time, we had sanctions that, we are not able to get into telecom industry. So we are making, DTM of chips and things like that. So fab and package was a big gap for us. And for the same, I think there are industries already started, maybe in the months to come or in a year, we will be producing wafers and of course in the packaging sector, there are a couple of them already playing Tata CG Power Canes. So in those perspectives, I think India is well positioned. On the test, my earlier job was with the Tessal Semiconductor, which started in 2004. That time, when we got that model into India, people are saying, who will invest? ATE is like $3 million, lot of things. But we believed in something that, when you do the design, why do you want to go to Europe, Asia, or US to test your chip when you have the test chip comes out? So we did put our test center with wafer probing and final test package center. Right now we are the #1 in the world in terms of test engineering services. That means you bring a data sheet of the device, we can develop a volume production test solution for wafer level and package level, and we kind of give it to the industry. So in that way, in my earlier company, with the Tessal, I would say we are pretty well catered. So are we making a full product? That's a question, right? We are not there yet. So I want to add a few things here. If you look at the EDA tool to test perspective, most of the work we do out of India is cost plus margin. So you do a margin, we are profitable, but not, we are like, if you see, when the Apple makes, their BOM content probably will be like, $150, $200. But the major portion of the cost when they sell, it goes to Cupertino because they hold the IP there. So when we develop a product, that's where we can make, depending upon the segment you are going to play, the margins are much better, and those are all not happening. And being India is such a big country, we should capitalize on that. So our statement is, our India opportunity now is chip should be designed and manufactured in India to substitute imported chips. Very clear. Now, what kind of chips we can start with first? So I will list down few products here. HPC and AI, if it's edge, probably, you could do. But these are all high-end. Most likely, the fabs right now we have may not be able to support. So you will end up being going outside. So I say that, you could do it, but if you want to do a full product, even wafer fab India, most likely may not. The next one is the memory. And again, if you looking at, participating in a memory market where, DDR4 or above, then those fabs are all still not, I think, compatible with India. Whereas RF and analog, I think a great possibility. At some point of time, we should be able to do a design and get it fabbed within India. And mixed signal, of course, I would say that, very good talent pool available because TAE started maybe 25 years before, created a lot of designers for analog, and it created a ecosystem. So I give a good green signal. And automotive area, maybe it's still possible. So power area, it's I think a focus we need to start. My company, IVP, we chose power to play with, to start with, I would say. And sensor is another area where it requires a different fab, maybe a MEMS fab for certain application. So with this, I would say that we could play in the bigger segment also, but immediate opportunity where from concept to a product that you can ship to Indian companies in these areas. And like your product is well aligned. Looks like I read your mind before, but you already have a product. So this is where I think India should concentrate so that we could take from concept all the way to shipping a part to our customers in India. Now, with that, I have some thoughts. Not necessary that this is my thought. I would say one area could be that we could do a chip for automotive grade MCU. I see Tata Fab is coming. Usually, automotive you need a little more mature process node. So 40 nanometer is well accepted in automotive industry, and the automotive industry is huge. If somebody can do a full MCU, and of course, precision analog and mixed signal, which could address the medical segment also, if can be done, this is some area that, in Kerala you guys can start. Then MEMS fab is another area where it is not expensive like the other fabs, and this can be a very good support for automotive, defense, and medical electronics. And the other two items I'm going to talk about is in terms of cost, it goes down. Every wafer produced need to be actually tested. So for that you need something called probe card. These are very expensive, and these need to be customized for every product for maximum parallelism. So a probe card design and manufacturing, for the devices, with a tight pitch is an important. So I would say that, this is another area you could concentrate. And the last one is probably little low tech, but it is also important. Manufacturing a test socket for packaged device, and this could support, the last two can support any of their OSAT already coming in. So these are my thoughts. I thought, I'll give it to you guys to think about it and attract investors to bring in money so that this can be put in. So that's my slide. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And finally, for this session, we have Dr. Sankalp Singh, University Program Manager at Synopsys, responsible for academic alliances, tool chain partnerships, and nurturing the next generation of chip design talent. His topic is going to be the significance of EDA and tools in semiconductors, which is a critical piece of the ecosystem puzzle. Please welcome Dr. Sankalp Singh onto the stage for the presentation.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. I would like to thank the organizers and Professor Alex who invited me for this. Can we have the slides? So I am the last one between your lunch. So I'll try to keep it short. Most of the points are covered, but I would just like to, means you will find it repetitive as well, but please bear with me, right? So I'm Sankalp. I drive the academic program called as SARA, which is Synopsys Academic Research Alliances, for a company which is in the EDA space. So I've kept a very busy slide deck. I'll not go in detail, but because it is already discussed in depth, I would just like to run through maximum part and then come down where EDA can be playing a role in India's context and then in Kerala, right? So we have already heard semiconductor is everywhere, right? You can talk about electronics, you can talk about automotive, you can talk about HPCs, AI, whatever, right? Everywhere you will find some piece of silicon playing a role, right? And for that, you need to solve a lot of challenges, because for each application, it comes with a unique challenge. So we as a company, now we are Synopsys plus Ansys. We are not just only Synopsys. So we are not just into the silicon space, but we are more from a silicon to a system space, right? And this is what is required going forward when we talk about what we need to do in India's context or Kerala's context, right? So we are all in the era of pervasive intelligence. Everything, the stack is there, the AI stack is there, whatever you need to say, everything is becoming more and more pervasive. The left hand needs to talk to the right hand, the right needs to talk to the left. It cannot be that whatever the left is doing, right doesn't know, right? So we need to make sure that whatever softwares we are defining or the systems we are building, everything needs to have a pie, and AI is powering that, and at the root, it is the semiconductor chip which is driving that, right? So this is how the system integration looks like going forward, right? We used to play around in the semiconductor company space, but now with the system capability plus with the electromechanical thing, what we have now, we have a lot of areas to cover. It can be automotive, it can be aerospace, it can be industrial equipment, high tech, like what we have just heard from other participants, right? So this is what we deal into as we speak now. It is not just the semiconductor, but the fluids, the thermals, the mechanicals, the softwares, the electrical, the optical. So everything is required going forward. So we can't just stick around with the last component, which is the silicon, right? So enough of synopsis. Now heading back to the main topic. So I kept it into different parts, right? So what we are seeing that as we are scaling, or we want to scale from 180 at SCL to Tata's 28 going forward and beyond, right? What the CDACs are doing, right? We are seeing that there is the complexity which is increasing. We have different processors which are coming up. We have different technology which is impacting in a much different way, right? And with all these things, we get a lot of design challenges. So it says that, right, this is how the semiconductor ecosystem looks like. And we had a quote which says that it takes an entire village. So I have just modified that to build the entire semiconductor ecosystem, right? I'm not going into the exact code, but we need the IP, we need the EDA, we need the specialty chemicals, we need the tool vendors, the equipment guys, we need the IDMs, we need the fabs, and everyone. Plus, we need the fabless, which is very important part of this puzzle, right? So, this is how the semiconductor company landscape looks like as we speak right now in India. So, I have just kept it from India's point of view, and except the manufacturing side of it, all the major players, the multinationals, have their presence in India. And like Professor Zele mentioned, we have a lot of people getting trained and then joining that. Trends are changing. You will soon see this slide getting a lot of Indian names getting populated very soon, right? And these all are the terms. Can you just go back? Just go back. Yeah, these all are the terms highlighted in purple, which you will see that this is part of your academic curriculum. More often than not, you would have heard some of these words. I will not go into the detail, right? So next, what is EDA, right? It is electronic design automation. These are, I'll say, the tools which are used to do chip design. And it is not just the software, it also combines hardware plus the service and the chip development side of it. It enables verification, implementation, emulation, prototyping, manufacturing, right? It has multiple functions, right? I'm just going through, I will not go through each of them. These are something which we all have heard somewhere. And why we need that? Because it actually helps you integrate things faster and also gives you much better efficiency if you are going for an actual silicon, right? So this is how the ASIC design flow looks like, especially for the students, because when I asked Professor Alex who are the audience, he said most of them will be students. So I just wanted to make sure that you understand, because you will be the one who will be driving the next set of these revolution, right? So why we need to do this? Because complexities are increasing, the pace is accelerating, and also the cost is increasing. So we need to make sure that whatever we want to do it, like our previous speakers have mentioned, that if you want to even do a product, we need to make sure that we understand everything and we use the EDA tool to do a simulations, make sure that everything is working fine before we go for an actual tape out, right? So role of EDA in India's context, we were all part of the ISM, which was launched in the time of COVID, right? And then there is different schemes coming out like Chips to Startup, DLI, which has been discussed. CDAC is the nodal center for that. Just to give you a context, in C2S, out of 303 organizations combining the startups with 290 institutions, 20 of them are from Kerala. That's a big number. It is just right behind Telangana in terms of the institutes or organizations who are having EDA access. In terms of DLI, we are touching close to 80 plus mark as we speak now, and lot of companies are getting onboarded. I will not go into detail of this program. I'll just say in one word that be a part of C2S or a DLI, you will get EDA access. That's it. And there are lot of other initiatives which are going on. The speakers from CDAC have mentioned there are other initiatives going on with IBM, MIT. Can you just go back? Yeah. And last part of this was the AICT has come up with the new BTech in VLSI curriculum. Professor Alex was driving that. I know Professor Zele was involved in that. I was involved in that. There is a holistic curriculum in place. So any academic institution who would like to take that as a model, please use that. I'm not saying that you just need to use it as it is, but if you want, you can still use it as it is. It has been designed in such a way that there are 7 different verticals covering the entire semiconductor thing, what a student needs to know in this industry, right? So coming towards Kerala, right? How the ecosystem play can be done here in Kerala. So I always say this as a part of our strategy that we need to do a bottom-up strategy. It's like building the pyramid from bottom up. Talent transformation takes the first seat, right? Because you need people who understand things. Lot of these things are already tied up to the C2S, DLI things which is going on, but you still need to do lot more. With the current thing, whatever we are seeing, we will not be able to meet the requirement what the industry is looking for going forward, right? Content is there, infra is there, syllabus is redesigned, everything is worked on, so we just need to make sure that we impart the right set of education. And I would like to echo what Professor Rajesh Zele is saying, right? It is not just the 200 engineer which is coming out from his lab. I want to make sure that 200 engineers coming out from each professor's lab working in this space, right? So that is one. Yes, to do that, there will be a research component and there will be a startup ecosystem which may come up. Some of you may come up and say that, hey, I want to do the incubation, which is the second most important thing. We have to move away from just publishing papers to make a product. So the research should be aligned to do a product in mind. And finally, we need to integrate everything vertically. We need to build our own SOC platforms. CDAC is the best example. We have just seen that, what people are doing. So I'm just keeping it in terms of EDA's perspective. And this is where I think Kerala can play a very important role. We have good number of people in the institutes. We have a lot of R&D activities going on with facilities like Maker Village and everything. There is a chance for incubation which can come up. We have 2 successful startups which are already there. It is not just 2, we want to make sure it becomes 20, 200 going forward. And at the end, you will have to make your product vertically integrate everything, build your own SOCs or platforms, whatever you want to do, right? So And for all these things, it is not just the electronics and computer science students which is required, we need everyone, right? And I would like to highlight couple of important departments apart from computer science and electronics, right? Material science to be one, civil engineering and mechanical to be other, and the basic sciences. We have forgotten that. People may come up and say that, hey, why we need that? But we still need physics, chemistry, mathematics guys into this play, right? And of course, I have added one important department which is bio-related, because I know Professor Alex is working in this area of neuromorphic. So I wanted to highlight that it is not just the electrical and computer science playing a role, but we also need the bio guys to come up, because all these guys will help us build the next generation skilled manpower, right? So I'll just quickly go through that last part of it. Why we are talking about right from silicon all the way up to system and then the software, because with the trends changing, with new technologies getting into semiconductor area, it is not just the ECE computer science guys who are required. Can we do next? We also need people from the neighboring departments is what I say. So if you see, these are some of the snippets which I have taken from multiple social media, LinkedIn and other places which is available, right? So if you see here, Meta is asking for a material researcher. Forget that these are some 22, 23 and 24 listings, not the current ones. Google is asking for a chip packaging guy. We have a big presence here in Bangalore where they are doing their own semiconductor design. Qualcomm is asking a foundry specialist, right? General Motor is asking for a wafer fabrication procurement specialist. So these are all certain areas which is not directly related to the companies, what they were doing, but everyone wants to have their entire stack built. So in this context, we can also think that going forward in India space or in Kerala space, we will be requiring people from different areas. So this is what my message will be to all the audience and the students. So whatever it takes, you can do it. And for doing a chip design, EDA is at the heart. It saves a lot of cost, faster turnaround time. We have to also learn about the system complexities, right? India is already having close to 30% designers, right, doing the chip design play in India, but for the world. But it can be expanded, and EDA tools can help you do the talent development, research, and startup incubation ecosystem in Kerala. Thank you.
Thank you to all the speakers for enlightening us. We are now moving on to the conclusion of this session. And for that, please welcome on stage our panel coordinator, Professor LXP James, Professor at DUK and Director at IIITMK, onto the stage with a bigger round of applause, everyone.
So just to quickly have a conclusion of the talk. So if you've seen, like, the way the talks were arranged, we covered, like, all the different aspects of, like, semiconductor. And unilaterally, you could see that, like, a common comment was focus on products. It is very clear. The idea is focus on products. The second message was focus on innovation. So it's maybe we can put it as ease of innovation could be a focus area we could look at. Like, we have ease of doing business, but what about ease of innovation? Whether it's in academia, whether it's in industry, whether it's in, like, manufacturing, how do we enable that? Would you put barriers to it, or would you, like, make it easy to translate and do? And the other part was the integration across, like, multiple fields. So when we think about what Sankalp had put it in very nicely, saying that like one of the slides, he showed like, the chemical engineering, mechanical engineering, everything. So today people ignore that, but when it comes to semiconductor, we are talking about the entire engineering programs and how do we bring that skills. And again, another point like almost everyone made was that there is no shortage of talent. Talent is there. Only thing is we are working for others and we are not working for the development of the country. So, one of the other thing that came in common was word to focus on when the products, and these were exactly the same areas when we were talking about semicon mission for Kerala. So the focus was on analog, focus was on mixed signal, focus was on the power. Those areas where traditionally people shy away from doing, but interestingly we see that it's something that Kerala could do. You don't need a huge amount of investment. You need thinking. You need the manufacturing facilities that you need is again of that scale. No huge scale like fabs required, and almost it's all the ideas seem to have converged that way. So that's the primary conclusion, and we'll take all these points into our policy document that we are currently working on, and good to see that it's already lot in alignment. So it's just a matter of taking in and fine tuning some of those bits. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir, and requesting you to please stay back on stage. Alex, sir, please. We are delighted to announce the signing of letter of intent for collaboration between Extra G Club Private Limited and IIITMK, requesting the representatives from Extra G Club Private Limited to kindly come over to the stage. Also, we have Sri Sriram Sambashiva Rao IAS, Special Secretary, Electronics and IT, Government of Kerala, here with us. Please welcome him onto the stage with a bigger round of applause, everyone. The objective is to build a state-of-art capacity building program in semiconductor for students, engineers, and industry professionals, to establish a fully functional electronics park and science and technology exhibition park, and to facilitate statutory approval, clearance and incentives as applicable under state policies. So ladies and gentlemen, please join us for the signing of letter of intent for the collaboration between Extra G Club Private Limited and IIITMK. Thank you, sir. We are also delighted to announce the signing of letter of intent for the collaboration between Beyond Next Ventures India Private Limited and IIITMK, requesting the representatives from Beyond Next Ventures India Private Limited to kindly come onto the stage. This facilitates the strengthening of the semiconductor and startup ecosystem in Kerala by supporting entrepreneurial researchers and early stage companies through investing, mentoring, open innovation, infrastructure, access, and capacity building. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please join us for signing of letter of intent for the collaboration between Beyond Next Ventures India Private Limited and IIITMK. Thank you, sir. And finally, we are delighted to announce the signing of the letter of intent for the collaboration with MathWorks and IIITMK. Once again, requesting the representatives to kindly come onto the stage. This collaboration aims to support startups in leveraging MATLAB and Simulink for faster research, prototyping, and product development, thereby strengthening the deep tech and hardware startup ecosystem in Kerala. Thank you, sir. And once again, inviting Professor Alex P. James onto the stage to present the mementos to all our speakers. To receive the token of appreciation, requesting Professor Rajesh H. Sile, Professor, IIT Bombay, to kindly come over to the stage to receive the memento. And next, requesting Mr. PVG Menon, Vice President of Tata Projects, to kindly come onto the stage to receive the memento. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's have Mr. Libin TT, Scientist F at CDAC, to receive the memento. Let's welcome Mr. Rijin Zone, CEO of Silesium Circuits, to kindly come onto the stage to receive the token of our appreciation. Next, let us have Mr. Yogan Sandalkumar, CTO, IVB Semiconductor, to kindly come onto the stage. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Sankalp Singh, University Program Manager, Synopsys, to kindly come onto the stage. Thank you, and before we wind up, requesting all the speakers to kindly join on stage for a group picture. Thank you so much, everyone. And we are officially concluding our first session for the day in the meeting hall. We are now breaking for lunch. Delegates may move to Exhibition Center adjacent to this building to have lunch arranged for you. And also kindly join us back here at 2:15 p.m. so that we can start the next session on time.
At an India level, and I can tell you that all of you have been impacted by what we have done, right? Look at the video. Any questions, I'll be happy to take. Please play the video. Hopefully the audio works.
Millions of people visit different government departments and offices every day for various services, for which they have to access multiple websites, costing them both precious time and money. To provide services services for the citizens of our country in a smooth, convenient and integrated manner. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology of the Government of India has introduced India, that is the India Enterprise Architecture, which establishes best-in-class architectural governance processes and practices using information and communication technology infrastructure and proven solutions and building blocks to offer better government experience to citizens and businesses through cashless, paperless and personalized services. India's vision is to realize the dream of a better government experience, where the entire ecosystem of central and state governments as well as private sector units get linked and offer connected services to citizens proactively. With the successful implementation of India, good governance will be at the doorstep of citizens. This will help accomplish the goal of ease of living for all citizens. Aadhaar UPI, GSTN, Government e-Marketplace, Digital Locker, and Umang have already led to exponential growth and created an ecosystem for a hassle-free life for citizens. Similarly, digital platforms have been developed for the health, agriculture, and education sectors. And work is ongoing to develop similar platforms for transport, land, integrated litigation systems, and various other sectors. The India framework, with its integrated services, applications, standardized databases, and synchronized data, will help achieve the dream of $1 trillion digital economy by 2026-27. The India framework is already being implemented in many states like Meghalaya and Andhra Pradesh. To enhance awareness about the India framework among stakeholders, sensitization and briefing workshops are being conducted in various states and union territories in the country. Through the India framework, all students will be on government records, which will help them in getting admission to schools, colleges and higher education, counseling, training, scholarships and education loans in the future. The National Health Stack is being implemented in a structured manner with components at the national, state and local levels. The India framework will not only bring about ease of living for all citizens, but also result in ease of performance for government employees and ease of business for the private sector.
To start up a new business, we face many challenges from company setup to funding to testing of solutions made for the market. But thanks to India, we have a single window-based solution platform where initiatives like MCA21, Startup India, Genesis take care of all the potential issues we young entrepreneurs face while starting a new business. Now today, I earn as well as I contribute to society. Thank you, India.
Earlier we had to submit multiple applications and still we didn't know if we have been admitted to any college or not. But now with India, we have to submit only one application and we get to know about everything. With DigiLocker, we don't have to worry about verification of our documents. A PAR ID card, the One Nation One Student ID helps in consolidating all of our complete academic records. Umang, a single window app is therefore a scholarship process for students. Bhashini, for easy access to the internet and discuss services in our own language. India has solved the problems of us students.
The Digital India Ecosystem Architecture Framework is the need of the hour. Let us work together and collaborate for the India ecosystem for becoming the most developed country, Viksit Bharat at 2047.
All right, thank you very much. Hopefully that gave you an idea of what we should be looking at.
Thank you, sir, for that insightful presentation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let us have on the dais Mr. Dinesh Thambi, the Vice President and Delivery Center Head at Tata Consultancy Services, Kerala, with deep experience in secure IT delivery, digital transformation, and enterprise-grade governance solutions. He will speak on the topic Trust, Security, and Ethics in the Next Era of Digital Governance. Please have a bigger round of applause for him.
Thank you very much. First of all, at the outset, thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. And also, I don't know whether Jinju is here. I sent a photograph, and it was good, like she made me young in that screen. Thank you. So good afternoon to all. If you look at it, it's great to be here, and especially with the Recode Kerala Vision 2031, which is a very relevant topic, which has to be thought through right up front, and we have to understand the ecosystem and to see how we can be prepared and be ready for the future. So here is the generation that will decide whether the technology becomes humanity's best friend or is the most confusing relative. So being like almost 35 years back, started the career with the mainframes, and later moving into 3-tier architecture, then automation, digitization, and now we are like at the cusp of like where we are embarking into a very different world, very different journey, which is AI. So how to prepare to handle this? That is the question we need to ask. And again, if you look from the data standpoint, we all know, like many years back, this was the phrase which was being told, like data is the new fuel, and still it is. But when we looked some years back, I don't know how many of us can maybe able to make out what data is with a very relevance, and in fact, especially with the unstructured data, a lot of things were not able to be decoded. So now that's not the case, where we can go through the data, analyze it, and we can derive inferences, and obviously the structured data also helps it. But now the question comes, how good is the data? So that is one of the key aspects which I will touch upon. Currently, if we look at our digital lives, it can be noticed that our relationship with technology is volatile. We like the speed, we like the convenience, but more than that, if you really look at it, we have a strained relationship with the technology nowadays, especially with the news we hear of the data breaches or somebody getting into the hacking into the system. All those aspects is not giving us that confidence. In fact, if you really ask me, we are going through a trust crash because of the online aspects of it. It's an erosion of the confidence as to how we will deal with that data, how to take that things forward. When we lose the trust, one of the outcomes of that is it will also stall the innovation. People may not be like wanting to move into an innovative world because nobody wants to like create something big which they are not sure whether there will be like a lot of other external entities which they may not have control. Because as an example, if you ask me, if we board a digital flight and if the AI is the pilot, and if we know it is still in the beta testing phase, I don't think we will want to board that flight. So the next big thing is, it's not technology going faster or like crunching the data, it's about laying the correct groundwork. So we need to like think through and put a new operating system in place, and that operating system has these 3 pillars, which is the topic given to me: trust, security, and ethics. And these 3 pillars are not separate. It has to work in tandem. It has to be like thought through and designed carefully. If one of them like misses out, then it will be a major disaster in hand. So let's go through that three pillars. The first is the trust. Trust is the new currency of the digital age. It's not a fancy logo or a tagline. It's what makes people believe that a system works and they will adapt to it and use it. It's simple. For example, we don't have to know how a car engine works, but we should be having the trust. Then we press the brake, the vehicle stops. If it doesn't happen, then the trust is eroded. So we have to really think through and architect the trust aspect of it in any of the applications coming forward. It's not like a clever marketing. So we need 3 actions really needed, or the 3 steps or the conditions which needs to look at it. Every system should be able to explain their decisions, at least broadly. So explainability is the first one. The second one is the accountability. Every system should have whatever the outcomes to the users, it should be able to account for that. And the third is the benefit. We are not just a product, we are not just participating. The user should be clearly benefited out of the applications we made. And one of the great examples, I think Doctor touched upon in that whole digital transformation, if you look at it and in the video, lot of platforms which has been created and a lot of applications are there, which I think most of us would have used, if not all, at least some of them. UPI is one of the things. UPI is one application which created that trust in India. When UPI was launched in 2016, I don't think people thought like, yeah, Indians will never leave cash. It's because we were a cash economy. Now fast forward, if you look at it, like even a coconut guy who sells coconut says, sir, please use the UPI. So that is the level. It helps families because it's connected into their accounts, and especially from the whomever the young entrepreneurs and the ladies who are doing that, the money is secure, all those. It gives like a family confidence, like the construct is very good. So UPI worked because it's transparent, the transactions were instant, secure, and easily understandable. People knows, okay, this is 10 rupees or 40 rupees, I paid for something. It's clear, it's easy to understand. Today, UPI handles over 12 billion transactions every month. That's more than the number of selfies we take. The key aspect of that is the trust was built right into the code. That visibility builds social and financial trust. You see it, you believe it. The financial inclusion which UPI is having, that is where the trust got created. The lesson we should learn from that is transparency builds comfort, comfort builds usage, and usage builds trust. If you look at it, the widespread use of UPI build that trust into that. So even though the population, we as a population were not digital first, but we got that trust into that particular application. The second comes the security. We all know when we normally talks about security, it's okay, put a big lock or create a huge digital wall or a firewall, that's it. But that's not the case going forward. Anyway, security is needed, and that end is really utmostly critical, and it works behind the curtains. It's invisible, but foundation keeping all the applications stable. Internet, if you look at it, currently with the usage of Internet doesn't have borders. So it doesn't matter like we put like a firewall or whatever, because it's like a party with all windows and doors are open. So the key aspect is resilience. We should not get paranoid. The key aspect is resilience, and we should strongly believe the applications, every applications we build will not be like 100% perfect. That's not it's a myth actually if you ask me. But we should have that mechanism built in, so we will be able to recover that application in case an issue happens, and we can run with that application. So that means again, designing that system with security from the start, not as an afterthought. That is the key. The second is, I think you might have heard of the zero trust architecture. Don't believe unless it's entirely 100% verified. Trust nothing and no one by default until they prove they are legitimate every time. And also the third aspect is every organization, if you know, we also do that, and we, when we look at the customers, they also do that. But now things are changing because there are a lot of entities coming up, organizations being formed, where like we share information. So if it's better to share that information, otherwise whomever wants to attack us will be having an easy cakewalk. The classic example is, I think you would have heard about the UK NHS system got hacked. In fact, like the whole system got into trouble, and they were like really, the doctors, nurses, everybody has to go back to the paper and pen, even appointments, the prescriptions, everything. It's not of a technology failure, but it's like a public safety issue. So that is what it created a lot of chaos. So the lesson again here is security isn't about locking the door, it's about checking if the hinges are still working. The challenge though is the balance. So the most secure system is not the one which we cannot log into. Then there is of no use. We can put create a building, close everything, seal everything, but nobody can go in, live, then there is of no use. So that is where a balance has to be made with the perfect security versus how we can use the application and getting things done. That's where the ethics come. The conscience of technology is ethics. Ethics is the code behind the code. Ethics bridges the gap between the technically what can be done and what should be morally done. So that is the balance which has to be considered. Algorithms are powerful and support super fast, but it lacks super fast, and it's super fast, but lack context. We depend on them every day. If you go for a loan, we go for a medical medical records or any medical aspects of it, we depend on these algorithms, but that is unfair if the data being used is not clean. That's why I mentioned earlier. And if it is biased, I think there was an instance which happened in UK from a school. They did like a grading of the school children. When it happened, like all the children who had cleared were having the data bias, because from the private schools they were all getting cleared, while the brightest, the smartest student from a government school is not getting into the system. Immediately they have to like completely remove that whole algorithm and shut off that application. Here again, if you look at it, Aadhaar from an infrastructure standpoint, from a technological standpoint is really good. But really, was it like, did it touch every aspect of everybody? That was not the case, because if people living in the remote areas, they couldn't do that fingerprints, which like because of which they couldn't have, they were not able to get their benefits, the real benefits like ration and all. Because of which in 2018, the Supreme Court stepped in and said that basic rights such as privacy is a fundamental right. Innovation must serve people, not the other way around. So the lesson again we learn is algorithms decide your future. If it hasn't done its homework, then it has to be checked really very well. Now all these things are okay, like whether it's trust, security and ethics, but how we will make it work together. So the magic formula of all the three working together, it's like a cup of tea. If it doesn't, one of the things is not good, then it's of no use. That is where I think the India stack, I think again doctor mentioned here about the DigiLocker, Aadhaar, everything. And even CoWIN was also mentioned. CoWIN is a really good example where Aadhaar checked the beneficiaries, the identity, UPI ensured that the payment is good, and DigiLocker checked all the documents. So it's that India stack which helped, which created a full ecosystem. That's digital governance, working like a well-oiled machine. That's what we should aspire for. And again, it should not be like an immediate future. We should think of it from a long-term standpoint. With all these aspects, even if you look at it, that AI, because of this AI coming into play, there will be a lot of challenges which we can't ignore. The first one is the accountability. We can see even now, if a system of an AI application messes up, who will get blamed? The coder, the company, the cloud. So it has to be very clear how the regulatory aspects comes into play, both from a legal standpoint and also from a moral standpoint. So AI accountability matters. The second one is the digital divide. I think like all of us sitting in this room will be able to surf through the digital way, but there are people outside who don't even know how to download an app. So that inclusiveness has to happen. The digital divide should be bridged. And the third aspect is the data sovereignty. Data, if you look at it, it's everywhere. So how we will use it, what are all the rules which can be put in place so that people are comfortable and confident. Okay, I go to like, I don't know how many of you are so confident, if you give a data to any organization, even, and e-health is a good example. I know people saying, oh, if I give my data, like if I travel, it is useful, but hospital to hospital if he goes, if the data is being used somewhere else, so that confidence is not there. That's where we have to have really strong rules governing that. And one good example is the EU's GDPR. So what is the road ahead? So we have to like see to it. There are three things as leaders we should remember, the three C's. One is the clarity. We should clearly know why we are building the system and what is the intended impact. The second is consistency. We have to protect everyone equally. There should not be a divide. It should be an entire 100% inclusiveness. And continuity, deliver trust every single day. So just as a closing, I would want to mention, with the industry revolutions brought in new machines, so new moral questions came up. Today it's the AI age. So the question we should ask is it like what we can build, what can we build, or it should be like what should we build? So it should be, the answer has to be what should we build? The future is not like whomever is trying to build something like very quick, very fast and very efficient is not people are looking for. If somebody can build things with integrity, that's what the whole ball game is. So let's make our rule. There are three aspects which I thought which is having a greater impact. Build trust like an engineer, solid, logical and tested. Protect systems like your own data is inside them. And the third is code with ethics. Because technology is only a tool. Governance is how we use it, and integrity, that is how we make sure no one gets left behind. So with all these three aspects, that's the key area in which how we need to look at it. And every application, like whether, whether it's on health or a government aspect or a corporation builds it or an organization builds it, it should have these three key factors, which is the three strong pillars. So let's see how we can together do that, and also what are all the regulations, as I mentioned, legally and morally, which we can put in place. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable thoughts. And next, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Ms. Chaitra Teresa John, IPS, Superintendent of Police for Technical Intelligence. In an era where technology meets law enforcement, she is at the forefront of innovation in policing, digital investigations, and technical intelligence frameworks. Her presentation on innovation in governance promises to be highly relevant. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Chaitra Teresa John for the presentation.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm going to speak about innovation in governance, and since most of my experience and my knowledge is limited to policing, so since most of my experience and knowledge is limited to policing, I'll mostly be talking about law enforcement with regard to innovation. I'd like to start with two case studies. So the first one is with regard to the recent rape case in Kadakottam police station. I think you must have heard about it. A truck driver was caught recently in that case. So initially when the incident happened, the victim did not know who the accused was. It was not known. And there was no phone numbers, there was no photo, there was nothing, absolutely nothing. So the only thing was that from the whatever little CCTV footage that was available, there was a vague, it was understood that it was a truck driver, and there were a couple of truck numbers that could be identified as possible suspect and possible trucks from where the driver had come. So that was the only lead that was there. So among the truck numbers that are obtained, we could, so currently data integration project is going on by the central government, in which around 12 databases of different government departments have been integrated, and the law enforcement agencies have been given a portal through which we can conduct a search on various parameters. So we did a search for that particular lorry truck number, and so we could get the details that it had passed through these particular toll booths at these particular times. So we could sort of, it sort of matched with the time of the incident. At least we could prove that that truck was present somewhere around there. And the next thing that we got was the registration details of the truck. And in that registration details, we could get, of course, as you know, in the RC, we get the details of the owner, the phone number which was used for registering the truck. But there was no photograph of the driver. And we were not sure if the owner is the driver also. So from the phone number that we got from the RC details, we could again do a search on the same integrated database. And in that particular search, what is being done is that if that phone number is linked to anything in any of those 12 databases, that is picked up. So from that phone number, we got a couple of photos, and that was the clinching part of it, and the victim could identify the photograph as that of the accused. Then the rest of it, we could identify the name, and then we could do some OSINT work and then get the social media, everything else, like the CDR, everything was fine. The remarkable thing about this is that this entire thing could be done within around 2 to 3 hours because data was integrated, because police had access to this. If that was not the case, this entire thing, like, identifying the accused itself would have taken at least a minimum of a couple of days, especially in this kind of a case when there is absolutely no knowledge of who the accused is or what, any details regarding the accused. I just presented this as a case study because this is what a data integration can do for policing, and the same principle would apply for other aspects of governance as well, I would say. The second case study that I would talk about is a murder case which had happened in 2006 in Anchal police station. In that, a lady and 2 of her kids were murdered. And the police had identified the accused, but both the accused had absconded by the time police had identified. And from 2006 onwards, these 2 accused could not be arrested. And initially the case was being handled by the local police. Then in 2008, the case was transferred to crime branch. And in 2010, the case was transferred to CBI. And the case was still with CBI when it is still with CBI actually, and even they could not find the accused. So this had got into the, this had somehow come up in a conversation, and so at that time the SP Technical Intelligence was Ankit Ashokan IPS. So he and his team, they worked on it. The only information that was available regarding this accused, the first accused and second accused, of course, the names and their addresses were known, but they were not there. But there was a vague photograph of the first accused, which was taken at some marriage function, which was a grainy photograph, which was available from 2006. And with the current AI technology, there are some AI tools that are available in which aging process can be done. I think all of you would know about it. So that was done. There were a couple of photographs that came up as of the person who could have, as of the aged photograph of that person from 2006. So what he would look like in 2024 was sort of generated. And using some other tools, we could check for similar photographs that are available on the open source on the net. And some 40 odd photographs came up from different social media platforms. And from those, and working on those 40 odd social media platforms, we could sort of pinpoint on one particular WhatsApp DP. And that was not his DP, actually, it was his wife's DP. And from that, of course, once you get the WhatsApp DP, then we did a reverse search and got the WhatsApp number, everything. And once you get the phone number, it's kind of easy to get to the person. So, and the exact location of the person, what he is currently doing, what is the business he is running, everything. We could sort of, the team there could gather everything and then give it to CBI. So this is entirely, there's no footwork. The entire thing has been generated just based on the digital footprints that was generated by this person or persons associated with him. And with the new AI technology, with the help of new AI technology, this case that was around 20 years old could be, the absconding accused could be arrested in a brutal murder case. So this is the kind of application of AI that we are also looking at. Even though in both these cases, I have only spoken about detection of cases or getting an absconding accused. For police work involves a lot of other things as well, including investigation of cases, doing security schemes, bandobast, etc. The first aspect, I think already it has been spoken about at length in the first session. What I wanted to like all of us know, the biggest strength of government departments is that we are all sitting on a lot of data of a lot of people, but the problem is that this data is not being used to analyze or to automate certain things. So it leads to a lot of redundancies, a lot of duplication of data entry, and a lot of nuisance for the public as such. And this is through inefficient analysis, and we are not able to connect the dots fast enough to stay ahead. So critical insights are hidden within these data silos, leading to delays, inefficiencies, and missed insights. And of course, another problem that we face right now is with regard to processing of Malayalam language, since most of our data is in Malayalam. So the Vision 2031 for us would be to have smart, safe, and efficient policing through data analysis. The first step in that would be to create a unified data lake and then which would enable AI-powered analysis, and to go from reactive policing to an intelligence-led policing, where you know that which person is probably going to collect and do which kind of crime, and then prevent that. Centralized data to act as a single source of truth for all data, and then break down silos by extracting, transforming, and loading data from all sources into one cohesive system, ensure quality and security, and enable analytics. So these are the four things that we would like to do. Again, this kind of repetitive, but I guess as all of us know, an AI agent or an AI tool is as good as the data that we feed it, as good as the machine learning that it goes through. So the first point would be to have clean data in order to train the LLMs. So these are some of the solutions that we are looking at when we are able to do this. So we get inputs from multiple sources which are classified manually, leading to delays and inconsistent prioritization. An AI system should be able to classify new inputs by type, risk level and urgency, cross-reference new data with existing profiles in the database, generate contextual reports and recommend actions. Then, of course, second thing would be multilingual NLP for information retrieval. Search in natural language, read scan documents, build knowledge graphs that automatically link people, places, and events across different languages. Advanced video and image search, facial recognition, which would instantly match faces from new footage against existing intelligence databases, automatic number plate recognition system, which is already there, but it does not, and there are some alerts that are also generated, but it's not completely sufficient. And of course, at the end of it, to have some form of predictive and prescriptive policing. I think one application of this which I can sort of talk about is with regard to, for example, we do during the festival season, temple festival season. So this happens every year regularly, and it's a predictable event, right? Everybody knows which event is going to take place at what point of time. Every year, a lot of schemes are prepared to control the crowd, to manage law and order, etc. And every year there are a few things that go wrong, there are a lot of things that go right. But none of this is being actually recorded anywhere except in certain computer folders, and the person who is, the police constable who is making the scheme is the only one in whose memory it is there, that, okay, this is what went wrong last time, so okay, this time I will do it this way. Instead, if we can actually feed it into a system where, the schemes that have been prepared throughout the last probably 10 years for the same kind of event, and then what are the points that were taken from the debriefing of those events, and if a scheme can be automatically prepared to some extent. Of course, there will always be a manual intervention, but this can really increase the efficiency of creating bandobast schemes and also make them more foolproof. So yeah, we are looking at leveraging AI for smarter intelligence generation to move from reactive to proactive intelligence-led policing, transparency and efficiency to include data-driven decision making, and this kind of principles which can actually be utilized across departments. This all. Thank you. I hope we are able to move into a future where technology is harnessed to improve our governance.
Thank you, ma'am, for the presentation. Joining us next is Dr. P.V. Unnikrishnan, Member Secretary of KDISC, the Kerala Digital Services Commission. His expertise lies in human-centric digital initiatives, e-content, and citizen service platform. He will share his perspective on the topic human-centric IT governance for a digitally empowered workforce. And to you, the audience, please stay back as we have one more session after this one. Also requesting all the speakers to adhere to the 10 minutes time limit as we are running late on the schedule as well. And please welcome Dr. P.V. Unnikrishnan on stage for the next presentation.
I have a unique advantage of being part of the Kerala IT program, just before it had started, in the first IT policy, I was part of the committee which planned the IT policy in 1989. When there was no internet, when there was no, there were computers, of course, in engineering colleges and major institutions. NIC was there. We had just started off the computerization. I had been part of Akshaya, which did the digital literacy. I had built up the first Panchayat computerization program in the country. So 40 years had been with IT when digitalization had started, and we are now talking about the transformation, digital transformation of Kerala. So I would like to reflect on, Dr. Pallab started off with the digital architecture, and he also said that transformation keeps people at the center. Dinesh was talking about ultimately the results and also kept people again at the center. And Madam was talking about policing for the people and for the community. So I would like to look at the community, the transformation of Kerala, and look at the humans as a central point to see how we can transform ourselves. Kerala has a unique status in terms of, if you look at Kerala and the rest of the country, the problems of Kerala are drastically different, be it in the digital world or non-digital world. The problems of Kerala are distinctively different from the Bimaru states. We are getting into second generation problems. We are facing problems. We have achieved quite a lot of, quantitative digital indicators, quantitative human indicators. We are, of course, I was looking at data points. Kerala is nowhere at the top of the digital world. The Northeast has made huge strides. Delhi is far ahead. Goa is ahead. But of course, Kerala is not at the bottom of the, it is in a fairly good position, but not at the top. Whereas Kerala is at the top in many of the human development indicators. We had announced the first technopark in 1990. My policy committee was driving this as a major thing. The first state-level government computerization, local government computerization program in the country was launched in 1999. We established the International Center for Free Open Source Software in 2009 because we were concerned about use of open source and open standards, which Dr. Palla was talking about. Kerala was the first state to declare total literacy. It's not computer literacy, I'm talking about total literacy in 1991. And first e-literacy program was launched in 2022. Akshay. 2002. We had established the skill digital platform in 2019, far ahead of other states. Even though the wide area network in Andhra Pradesh is much better, and there are other states which have established the state wide area network much faster, but we had major application in terms of the skill development platform in 2019. Now the first achievements of Kerala are not limited to this. We established the first digital university in 2021. We became the first fully e-governed state in 2023. We declared total digital literacy in August 2025. Kerala is the only state to declare internet as a right. Kerala has declared a program for transition to lawless society with a mission in 2021. In fact, the first the knowledge society program is not in Kerala, it was in Karnataka. Karnataka had declared the commission. And Kerala has now established the first work near home, which is a co-working space. It is going to be announced the coming November. Now I am talking about completely different a component of how the transition to the Kerala's knowledge society could happen, and what are the unique aspects which Kerala had been keeping as a part of its development perspective. One is a central knowledge-based development strategy. I'll go into details of that. Then Kerala had been keeping people at the center. Social inclusion had been a very important component of Kerala's legacy. In fact, the Human Development Indicators talks about the social inclusion strategy. And in terms of innovation also, when the National Innovation Council was initiated and state innovation councils were established, Kerala was among the states which had taken innovation as a central piece. I was very happy to see quite a lot of innovation being talked about by the police department. We also run a program at KDISC with the various departments and talk about use of emerging technologies, whether it is AI, data analytics, machine learning, and some of these techniques we see how we can use it, not necessarily for policing, but for healthcare, and even for policing we had been trying to look at some of the aspects of how innovation could be used. Now, I'm talking about the Kerala's knowledge society, the strategic foundations of that. This is important because as far as Kerala's economy is concerned, good things have been talked about, but the basis of Kerala's economy has to transform from a low productivity, low value addition regime to a high productivity, a high value addition regime. Digitization is going to be a central piece of that. Educational transformation is going to be a central piece of that. Innovation is going to be a central piece of that. But the fundamental driver is going to be the economic transition. Because Kerala will not be in a position to retain whatever achievements it has made in terms of its human development through redistribution only. It has to create new value. And the digital infrastructure, the cyber security systems, the trust, and what we build are all going to be very critical in terms of this economic transition. So in 2021, when this program for transformation of the Kerala to a knowledge society was declared, there were 4 components which were identified. Number 1 is employment for the educated, unemployed. Kerala has the highest unemployment, so that is why we talked about digital skilling and all those components. So we have to create a society where the capabilities of the educated can be effectively utilized. And more importantly, if you look at indicators, the participation on women in terms of productive activities, Kerala is below Chhattisgarh. It is 18 in terms of participation of women in productive activity. If every woman in Kerala takes 10,000 rupees per month, get 10,000 rupees per month by involving in an economic activity, the value it would create is 36,000 crores. If it is 15,000 per month, it will be 1/50th of the present FDP. That's the value it can create. So we have, it's a very important thing. We have got, I mean, the women in Kerala, what we are talking about is not people who have not passed the 5th standard or 6th standard or things like that. People who are qualified, a large number of them are graduates, large number of them are postgraduates, but unfortunately confined to the family and not being part of the productive activity. So this is one of the very critical component when we look at, people at the center, establishing an innovation ecosystem. The problems of Kerala are fairly challenging. We call them wicked problems. If you go to MIT site, there is a lab which handles wicked problems. Kerala's problems are wicked problems. For instance, you look at toilets in Kuttanad. You think that it's a trivial problem? You cannot flush it. Serious problem. And with the seawater table rise, this is going to affect almost 1/3 of the Kerala population. We have not been able to come to a solution to this. We are working with the IIT Bombay to try to work out a solution for that. A conventional in situ gravity mode of toilet won't work. You cannot have a sewerage system in Kuttaran because you have seen the bunds, you cannot lay the pipe, you don't have land, so you have to have out-of-the-box solutions for problems like this. So these are all issues where we are trying to solve problems. Kerala has got the biggest forest cover. Not the highest forest cover, but among the states which has the highest forest cover, Kerala is one among them. We have a huge problem of human-wildlife conflict. I mean, for the last 10 years, thousands of people have been dying. The loss due to attack of wild animals comes to hundreds of crores annually. There's a huge issue to be resolved. So these are issues where innovation has to handle it. So innovation is not about creating value only, it is to create meaningful way of living, to have environmental sanitation, to have protection of humans. All these are covered as a part of the innovation. Transformation of the higher education system. We have achieved education in terms of quantity, but in terms of quality, there are a lot of issues to be addressed in higher education. So we are on the path of trying to address some of these challenges, and that's a critical component to the knowledge society creation. And finally, the digital transformation of all sectors of the economy. I'm extremely happy that he talked about change management, and he said that you can have all the pieces in place, but then huge transformation has to happen if you want digital transformation to achieve. And we are talking about digital transformation of the various sectors of economy, be it the primary sector where you have fragmented the land holdings completely, be it the traditional industries where you have a larger number of people who have not actually taken in themselves into technology, or be it the MSME where Kerala is among one of the leaders in terms of ease of doing business in creating new enterprises and creating knowledge enterprises and things like that. Digital transformation encompassing all these sectors are going to be very critical. So these are the various components of Kerala Knowledge Society which we are trying to look at very closely. The first component is employment for educated and unemployed. We have created 3 years ago, I got a award from the President of India for the first digital platform for employability. No other state has got such a beautiful digital platform. We bring together the employers, we bring together job seekers, we bring together the skill providers all on the platform. But we have not been able to address the fairly complex problem of employment. The ITS students are among the best in terms of getting jobs, but majority of them don't join these jobs because their aspirations are different from the ITA holders of Tamil Nadu or UP or Rajasthan. They go for a 10,000 rupee job. The ITS here, they go for a Swiggy Zomato job and they get 25,000 rupees or more. So they don't find a meaning in terms of getting to a conventional IT job. The problem is very complex. We are not in a position to meet the aspiration of the people. We had been trying the last 4 years to address this employability issue. Now we have got into a hard grassroots level program called Vijnana Kerala, where we have created job stations in all blocks and municipalities. All panchayats are connected. In all campuses, we have initiated a huge program of employability. We are now targeting at least 2 lakh employment for the final year students of the current batch to ensure that all of them get fairly good jobs of their interest, and we can take it forward, and also we can address a substantive portion of the employability of the women folk also. So this is one of the programs that we are, since we are don't have enough time, I will not go into details of that. The innovation ecosystem for knowledge co-production, that is my core function as the Secretary of Innovation. We have a variety of innovation programs, among the first in the West in the country, the Young Innovation Program, the innovation program for students, the innovation program for local governments. There is no other program like that in the country. Innovation for government, innovation for MSME, the most comprehensive program of STI and DUI innovation that has been created in the country, going all the way from genome data center to medical technology consortium to electric vehicles. We have programs covering all these things under the ambit of innovation, which are all critical for building up the knowledge society. We are taking these programs ahead. Transformation of higher education, establishing centers of excellence for translational research is very critical. We have center of excellence in microbiome, we have center of excellence in graphene. Variety of center of excellences are being established where we are trying to translate the cutting edge research which is being done into the various institutions. We had established the first blockchain academy in the country, trying to put Kerala as the top of the blockchain technologies by 2030 was the target. We have done fairly well. 5 global centers of excellence in blockchain have moved into Kerala. The digital university which runs the Kerala Blockchain Academy, which was funded by us, now provides blockchain training to all the IITs, and it is providing blockchain training to 175 countries over the platform. So we have been able to make strides in some of these areas. I am not saying that we have achieved everything, but we are trying to do a substantive effort in terms of taking these things forward. The Kerala Technology University curriculum has been completely transformed, making innovation and skilling as critical components, and problem-based learning as a very important component has been brought into it. Employability is a key area. Now, as a part of the FYUGP, all the universities are now trying to follow this suit. Digital transformation. I mean, leaving the architecture, leaving the technology part of it. We feel that the digital transformation in Kerala as a practical program has to be around the quinquennial helix. The triple helix was first tried out in Silicon Valley, which brought the NASA had a role in that, the IBM has a role in that, Fairchild and all the IT industries had a major role in that. So that is the first model of the triple helix, which we are now trying to replicate in Kerala around the various academic and research institutions, bringing together along with the startup and the industry to create a quinquennial helix and try to address some of the critical problems and create solutions, be it in agriculture, public administration or services, and to create mechanisms for knowledge co-production, working together is what we are trying to do as a part of the whole program of knowledge society building. So, to conclude, the Kerala's problems are fairly complex. We are trying to be the torchbearer of the digital India. Digital reskilling. I don't think that Kerala's workforce is the most digitally equipped workforce in the country. It's among the best. There is a need for very serious reskilling and focus on innovation and education. Extremely happy that the police department has got such beautiful systems in place, and they are trying to solve the systems. So it's good to see 40 years of the digital transformation in this state and seeing some very exciting case studies. And TCS is also working with us on the employability program. Dinesh himself, I think, is trying to connect the engineering colleges, take these programs forward. But the digital transformation is not it has to keep people at the center, and it has to create value, and it has to transform the economy, and it has to ensure that the inclusion and the sustainability components of Kerala's growth so far can be retained and taken forward. So that is the practicality of the human-centric aspect of Kerala's development. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. Once again, requesting all our speakers to adhere to the 10 minutes time limit. A gentle reminder, we need all of your participation for the next session as well, so please stay back for the final session. Also, requesting the speakers of the final session to please be seated in the front row. And finally, for this session, we have Dr. Smiju IS, the Director of the Center for the Development of E-Content at CASAT. With his work in digital education, content strategy, and data-driven value creation, he is well placed to speak on the topic, data as a strategic asset and mission for the realization of the asset value. Please give him a bigger round of applause. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, all. Just want to take only a few minutes because the time is overrun. So we may be taking a short span of time. We will winding up very quick and fast. I'll take 2-3 case studies related with my topic. Today, I just want to start with there are two things around us changing exponentially in the case of especially after the post-COVID. One is for a computing speed, and second one is called data creation. When you take these two things together, we can make a huge digital revolution. Take some scenario. When we studied in our school days, if you remember, we stored our data in a 1.44 MB floppy drive. But now, we are using a mobile phone with a 256 GB, it's not sufficient. Because that much data we are creating each and every second. Now, we are living in a world. We know the importance of technology, the importance of the data. Taking a simple case of Uber. Each and every day we are using a small mobile application called Uber app. How this Uber app is making a transformation of a common people and how it's affecting our economy of our state. You see, small mobile app Uber, the people who are working here in Info Park, take an example, take 5 years back, the people who worked here in Info Park, we are staying near Kakanad area. But after this small mobile app introduced with the combination of computing speed with the data, people started moving from Kakanad to, now the people are staying up to Angamali and up to Arur. See, people are distributing from one area to the different side, especially in the village areas. What happening, that reflection will be the people who were the techies, once they are moving from the city to the urban side, you know what changes will come. There will be a supermarket will come, there will be small coffee shop will come, after that there will be a movie theater will come, automatically the land value will be increased. This is happening everywhere. See, this is the digital transformation. When you compare with the data, with the computing speed, we can see every aspect of field. And you may be knowing another case. I was going through with reading with some cases happens in Wayanad when the landslide issues happens. There is a lady, she lost her house and also she's only having 2 kids left. And she lost all her digital records, including Aadhaar, ration card, all the record, revenue, land records, everything she lost. She doesn't know how to proceed. At the same time, our IT team, IT mission team, they reflected, they involved in that case and then they act very quick and fast way. Because of our data backup, they got all the digital records, including Aadhaar, including ration card and all the revenue record. Within a day, they can give it back. And she lost her food, she lost all the aid, but she got all the, identification cards within 1 day. That is the way now the data centers, the power of data and the power of computing speed. See, actually, I just came from Cochin University of Science and Technology. Now, presently, I'm holding a post for a director for Center for Development of E-Contents. In the education sectors also, there is a huge transformation happening in the digital part. Normally, when we studied in our college days, we need to sit in the class. Now we are, the technology will come behind the customers. That is the way the education also, what we are doing is we have a center, we are developing a multiple massive open learning courses. And we develop the courses and we are broadcasting these courses to the public. Last semester we offer a course called the criminology. We got 110 participants and above 75-year-old people, there are 5 participants with the age of above 75. That means the people, there is no age limit. They can attend anywhere, any place with the courses. That's the way now the digitalization is happening in the education sector. Once these courses is run, we were collecting all the data and we doing all the analysis, and depending on the analysis, we can take a lot of decision making. And once you have a data is there, we know we can make a lot of a different way of, we can predict and we can prevent a lot of things, especially in healthcare sectors, education sectors, and different sectors. We can use this type of collecting of data and we can do a lot of analysis by using artificial intelligence and machine learning concepts. So that is the way the data revolutions in different sectors be happening. And also today morning there is a CM speech. He mentioned about the Kerala cyber security operations centers and strong commitment of free and open source software part. In here we have a lot of, we also, in CUSAT also, we have a Center for Development of E-Contents. CDEC, what we are doing is we are offering an open courses with the different centers, and we will put up all the courses for the public people, and whoever they can take, they can register these courses and they can complete it within 3 months of time. Now we are shifting from course level into the program level, so that the people whoever they want to take in any later stages also, if they want, they can take it for a master's degree or a bachelor degree. We are just moving for some courses in program level part. So anytime they can take anywhere with these courses and subjects. I want to conclude with this part with with the multiple cases we discussed the importance of data. The data is not just a file stored somewhere, it is the heartbeat of our digital future. And when handled ethically, analyzed wisely, and shared responsibly, it becomes the most inclusive form of wealth. By 2031, the Kerala will be known not only for its social development, but India's most trusted data intelligent economy. A place where information technology, semiconductors, GCC, and emerging technology grow together, where every byte serves a purpose and every citizen benefit from the value we create. Because the future is not built on data alone. Now we know the change is happening, not only with the technology, the human-centric approach is very important. So it's built on how wisely we turn the data into the human progress. That is the way things I just want to conclude it. And thank you so much for, have a very good evening.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts. That was the final topic for session 2, ladies and gentlemen. And now, please welcome Mr. Sriram Sambashiva Rao IAS, Special Secretary, Electronics and IT, Government of Kerala, to present a token of our appreciation to all our speakers. To receive the honors, let's welcome Dr. Pallab Saha, the President of the Association of Enterprise Architects India. Please give him a bigger round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Sir, could you please move to the center? Thank you. And next, let's have on stage Mr. Dinesh Thambi, the Vice President and Delivery Center Head at Tata Consultancy Services, Kerala. And next, let's have Ms. Chaitra Teresa John, IPS, Superintendent of Police for Technical Intelligence, on stage to receive the honors. And next, please welcome Dr. P.V. Unnikrishnan, the Member Secretary of KDISC, onto the stage to receive the honors. And finally, Dr. Smiju IS, Director of Center for the Development of E-Content, CUSAT, to receive the honors. And requesting all the speakers to come back on stage with your memento for a group picture. Also requesting all the speakers for our final session to please be seated in the front row. We are quickly moving on to our final session. So ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Thank you so much, everyone. So ladies and gentlemen, we are now moving on to our final session here at the meeting hall. Requesting all of you to please be seated. We need all of your participation for the final session as well, so please stay back for the next session. Once again, requesting all of you to please be seated as we are quickly moving on to our final session. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are running late on the schedule, so we are quickly moving on to the final session. Requesting all our speakers to kindly be seated in the front row. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to our final session here in the meeting hall on the topic, Building the Digital Infrastructure for Kerala. This session will address how robust, inclusive, and future-proof digital infrastructure can enable Kerala's transformation from connectivity and data centers to smart cities and secure networks. We are now going to invite our first speaker on stage, once again requesting all of you to please be seated. We are going to begin our final session really shortly, requesting everyone outside to please get in and get ready for the next session. This is going to be our final session, and once again reminding all our speakers to adhere to the time limit of 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are now moving on to our final session, Building the Digital Infrastructure of Kerala, and let's welcome our first speaker on stage. Please welcome Mr. Amitabh Bhatia, Regional Business Head, South at Reliance Jio. He leads connectivity deployment across southern India with a focus on last mile access, network expansion, and digital inclusion. He'll speak on the topic, Universal High Quality Connectivity, Bridging the Last Mile. Please welcome him with a bigger round of applause. Over to you, sir.
So good evening everyone. My name is Amitabh Bhatia and I have this session time allocated for 10 minutes. So I thought of starting on a note. Actually we are like an highway. all the vehicles ply onto us, and it's very difficult to actually allow anything in 10 minutes to be built in the name of infra, which is ever evolving from the times of 1G, 1996 to 5G, which we saw in 2022, and now we all are preparing for 6G. So I'll try my best, but I'm sure a lot has been done in the state, and there is a lot to do, which is what I promise, and the best is yet to come. That's what I will start the presentation with. Okay, as I start, I take the opportunity of thanking Honorable Chief Minister Shri P. Vijayan for his towering leadership of almost a decade in building Kerala to as what we see today. And I'm sure the developments which are there on the screen are very, very relevant. We talk about Kerala being the first state on digital literacy. Kerala IT exports near 1 lakh crore. Kerala launches Nabuda Kerala to boost digital governance. And a lot of work being done by the IT department, one such session which we are part of, being done. These kind of developments, milestones, definitely guide, motivate organizations like us to invest in Kerala and become a part, integral part of the journey that we are going to talk in my presentation. Okay, talking about Jio, a brand which I am associated for last 10 years, it's a matter of immense pride for me because I don't just carry this respect as an employee of Reliance, but as a part of this group who has seen a strong contribution of Reliance in the making of India that we see today. It's been a 5-decade journey. And specifically, when I talk about what we have done in last 10 years, building the digital infra of India, and I'm going to showcase about a lot of things which has got impacted while we came in and how things changed between us. So I'm extremely happy and proud that I'm able to present this part. Jio has been a leading deep tech company since its inception in 2016. We have laid unparalleled tech infra across the country. We were the first largest greenfield LTE and VoLTE deployment as operator. We have done some unique work on 5G, which is own tech stack, building our own core network, software, hardware, and infra. And when I talk about this, I'm going to definitely mention about something which is very, very relevant for this particular session, the UBR infra-based connectivity for last mile internet bandwidth to reach homes, offices, institutions. And while I talk about it and touch base on the topic of 6G, I must mention that as we speak, we have filed about 3,400 patents, of which about 50% has been filed in 1 year. We have received patents for near 500 cases, of which 150 has come in last 1 year. So when I say we are a leading deep tech company, we seriously are committed to India and we are equally committed to the growth of Kerala. Pan-India digital network, which has been a record, a milestone and a thing to reckon, the fastest, biggest, largest, deepest network that has been built between 2016 to 2025, giving us an edge and ability to serve every nook and corner possible in India, every nook and corner possible in Kerala. So Jio has put India on the global stage of tech innovation is what I would like to talk about as part of my slide. So we've deployed indigenous technology. We have ensured the ability to operate on the scale that India is for every consumer, for every home, for every business, or for every cohort of an industry. We are there to support that. We have built end-to-end capabilities across network, operations, hardware, systems, applications, and content. And while we have done this, we happily built the entire digital services infra for India and put India at the forefront of connectivity and innovation globally. These are some unparalleled collaborations that we have done with industry leaders. We have tied up with Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Google. And while I talk about it, I must mention 2 days back, we have announced a very, very important initiative, which is on Reliance Intelligence, which is going to build the whole piece around artificial intelligence, which is the most recent and most updated. I was here in this room about 15 minutes before the last session got ended over, and I heard somebody talking about this. I'm sure this innovation, this initiative of Reliance with focus on infra, partnership, service and talent, which is the manpower, will definitely help India to build this ecosystem far bigger and better like we have built the others. A few important milestones we will definitely like to showcase: 27% CAGR growth on UPI, 17% on total digital payments. On the right, we are talking about similar things on online. And not just this, why should we forget that India now is the second largest populated country from the perspective of internet users. But yes, this number of 806 million, or in common man language 80 crores, would definitely have some multi-users. So I would still say half of India still needs internet, and that's what we are promising and we are going to work for, whether it is Kerala, whether it is India. And our digital strides give us great things to rock in, and that reckon is about internet traffic. This is a very common example which I speak on most of my forums for last 10 years. 2014, I was not in Jio, but yes, I remember the consumption per user was 700 MB a month. As I speak, it's 700 MB a day. And this is not just got limited to mobile. I must talk about the FTTH or the wireless broadband that we are giving at home, which give access to 800 plus channels for entertainment, or 15 plus leading OTTs to consumers in their broadband homes, has a consumption which is equivalent to 15 GB a day, which is like 500 GB a month. So that's the kind of change we have built in on internet traffic, both wired, wireless. The advent of digital payments, we know we are the largest in the world. The startup ecosystem which got developed in last 6 to 7 years, and the journey that we have built together with our 5G technology which has come in. I must mention about 5G in one line. This is the first time a technology has got rolled out in the world in 2020 and has come to India in 2022. Same ways on 4G, it took us about 4 years, but the previous ones, which was 1G, 2G, 3G, came after almost 1.5 decades. So India is growing, India is evolving, so is the ecosystem developing, and so is the ability of replicating it or moving into moving and giving the best to India is made available, and we are committed to it. Continuing market leadership in mobility, home and enterprise segment, how we see our market segments as consumer segment, home segment and business segment. Right now as we speak, we are 506 million plus customers, of which 234 million plus use 5G. And let me also request everyone to applaud for one fact, that India has the highest number of 5G users. I think this is something to compliment, and it's done by this industry while led by Jio. I am happy to state that we have more than 23 million fixed broadband connects, about 10 million Jio air fiber homes, and the goal that we have is 10 million should go to 100 million. So that's 10x that we want to do in next 2 to 3 years time. And on customer and revenue market leadership that we have built on the bedrock of these 3 businesses. I am talking about a very recent information which I am very happy to share. Jio carries world's 8% data traffic, and that's big. Coming from India, from the scale and size that we have in India, the difficulty of terrain, the difficulty of last mile connect, this is a big thing, and I'm sure with the advent of 5G and the innovation we are doing beyond FWA, which I'm going to showcase in the future slides, it is going to be extremely relevant that now this journey will become faster and faster. So what we have seen in 10 years may be possible in just 1 or 2 years. This is how I see it. And I'm also happy to share that we celebrated our 9th birthday just about 20 days back, and we were happy to announce to the world that we are now a 500 million customers company. We were the first to make voice calls free. We were the first who ensured the digital transformation journey of India starts. We were able to just a minute. Sorry, I'm moving forward, just allow me a minute. Is it going reverse now? Did you just check? One minute, I think I'm going back. Yeah, sorry. So we created the digital infrastructure I spoke about, supported the startup ecosystem. We ensured the fastest rollout of 5G in the world. And as we speak, we are continuing to grow. An important part which I would definitely talk about Jio and Jio's impact as before Jio and after Jio. We came with free voice. The data rates, which used to be about 300 rupees a GB, has reached 10 rupees a GB. India's rank in mobile data usage was 155th. It is now number 1. And I mentioned about it, 700 MB a month to 700 GB a day. We ensured that trade partners and our ecosystem get sufficient amount of support from us in form of margins. The speeds, which used to be around 230 or 240 kbps, moved to 150 mbps of download and 50 mbps of upload. Digital payment history, the UPI part of it, everyone knows. We democratized data and made everybody digitally empowered. And we ensured that the activation process, which used to take about 4 to 6 hours, cuts down to 20 minutes. That's Kerala for us in a glance. More than 1.2 crore plus customers, of which 1.1 plus customers, 1.1 plus crore customers are mobile users. We have 5 lakh plus 5G home broadband customers, near 5.3 million 5G customers. We have reach in roughly about 1.5 lakh wireless homes, in addition to what I spoke about as the wireless homes. We operate with 50 offices in Kerala, 250 plus retail stores as touch points, 20,000 touch points from the retail shop angle who are getting connected with us on everyday basis. Yeah, that's our infra. So it's more than 12,000 sites which has been deployed. We own a share of 38% on that. 50% of our sites are fiberized, which means we give lower latency and better connectivity and experience. We hold 40% share of the fiberized sites in Kerala. Our optical fiber reach is more than 31,000 kilometers, again 40% plus. If I talk about data market share, we are the largest with 45% share. On customer market share, we are number 2, which is 25%. If I talk about 5G, I have 8,000 plus towers of 5G in Kerala, which is 2x of the nearest competitor. We are ready with 30 lakh, that is 3 million connected homes as on today, whereas we have got a capacity utilization of 15%. So I've got 5 lakh connected homes, but we are ready with an infra with wired as well as wireless of 30 lakh connected homes. So Kerala is about 70 lakh homes. Today, as I speak, we are touching 30 lakh homes which can be connected. We hold 40% spectrum, which is largest for Kerala, 1210 megahertz. And on 4G and 5G, my current usage of 12,000 plus TB a day is just 25% of the capacity that I have installed. So there is more from Kerala that we are going to extract and build together. Okay, on 5G, the first operator to roll out 5G in Kerala, connected every home and taluka, and as I speak, 500 plus towns uniquely have only Jio coverage on 5G. Investment of 20,000 plus crore, we directly, indirectly are associated with 25,000 employees, direct, indirect or business associates who work with us. I'm not including the trade partners of 20,000 as a count. I'm talking about people who are working for Jio as part of our vendor infrastructure, our channel infrastructure. The customer service part of it, in which I am talking about My Jio, it has unique 400 million users logged every month. So with the digital part of it, we have ensured that people have connectivity and service as an easy access. Okay. Some of the new things which we have done recently is voice over new radio. This is a unique concept which has been done only by Jio in the country. It gives us an advantage to provide much better HD quality voice, reduce background noise, provide lower latency for our calls with greater network efficiency. I mentioned about largest 5G spectrum. We have recently started the spam call detection on mobile so that people who are getting calls from unknown people, if they don't want to pick it, this is supported by us. Satellite infra is being readied. As you all know, the regulatory clearance and spectrum is yet to come, so I'm not talking much on it, but this is also one of our forays which will be there in some time as the industry opens up. Our fiberization of 31,000 kilometers I've spoken about. Fixed wireless access, we are taking it to the next level, and I'm going to talk about UBR there beyond the E-band. The catalog of Jio products, I'm skipping it, but a lot of it you would have heard and seen. But yes, we continue to evaluate and evolve. India's only true 5G network, and when I say this, I say it on the bedrock of standalone 5G architecture that we have built, largest and best mix of spectrum and the carrier aggregation that we do. And I have just spoken about 5 cohorts while there are multiple. So we have agriculture, we have healthcare, we have education, we have homes, we have manufacturing as one of those key elements of our journey that we build upon 5G. Now I'm talking about something which is going to be a game changer for India and also for Kerala. We all know Kerala has its own challenges of fast mile reach because of the terrain that we are in, the hilly terrain, the vegetation that we have. We have now started offering home broadband and even business broadband solutions on UBR. This is very, very economical, does not need last mile fiber. I can do mass rollout at very low cost. So we identified the need as last mile fiber is not economical for mass rollout. We realized that time spent is going to be very heavy. We also understood the challenges that industry had seen on 5G fixed wireless. And while we decided that we will roll it out indigenously, we created to address few things through this UBR. And this is, we are now talking about abundant availability. As I say, today 30 lakh homes in Kerala are connectable on this. We are talking about asymmetrical symmetry moving to configurable symmetry on upload and download of 70-30 ratio, stable speeds which can give you up to 2.5 Gbps per user, and very, very minimal interference. While we have done this, we are the only operator to do that, and it's an innovation which is relevant for the topic that I am representing. I'm sure we will build it together with the Jio team in Kerala. This is an exclusive access for point to multi-point. It's not point to point, it's point to multi-point. It is proven performance. I'm going to talk about some enterprise products which has also got launched on this bedrock in the next slide. But before that, I think I'll talk about something which I really love. So this is a new thing. I'm sure most of you would not have heard it. If you have, I'm happy. The only operator which provides this in India. It makes any screen. It can be any format of screen, a television, even a base television, and it can be converted into a PC. You just need to spend 600 rupees a month, and everything that you need as a hardware and software will be made available through the broadband that I'm talking about as air fiber. We are very, very happy to announce that we have 2 lakh active users on it as on date. And this is the next big thing that we are going to leverage as far as our last mile reach and connectivity on the bandwidth and the infra that we have built upon. Any remote location can access now high powered computing supported by Jio 5G fiber. So I'll quickly move on to enterprise part of it, Jio Cloud, Jio CX, Jio Secure, the hospitality suite, the digital campus part, the digital healthcare, smart hospitality, manufacturing and retailing part of it, which we are contributing as industry. The various sectors that we touch base. And now I'm going to talk about something which is very new. On the left hand side is BB Max and BIL, which is Business Internet Lease Line. something similar to ILL, but then different because it has 10x burst table speed. So if you take a 30 Mbps connection and you need 100 Mbps for a particular college event, basis your usage requirement, it will automatically expand. The second one, which I'm talking about, BB Max, is more about small medium enterprises or SOHO as a segment, which gives you connectivity with one static IP at a cost which is very, very lucrative. So beyond ILL and managed Wi-Fi, I'm going to talk about some unique work around IoT which we have done on this infra that we have built, the complete ecosystem of grids, consumers and renewable energy. On Schindler and Tata Power as a tie-up, we are connected with Ather, BMW and Volkswagen for interconnected mobility solutions for their vehicles. We are also associated with Indian Council of Agriculture Research and AMUL for the IoT monitors which has been deployed on the capital. And these are some partners from South and Kerala that we are associated with, and we are extremely thankful for the kind of support that we are receiving from them, and look forward that our journey of being together will further strengthen, and look forward for great support coming in from the IT department, the government of Kerala, in making Kerala more and more stronger, agile, looking at the change that we are seeing with technology. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. And next we have Mr. Alok Baidya, Head of Solution Architecture, India Public Sector at Amazon Web Services, India. He brings deep expertise in cloud edge infrastructure, data centers and AI-ready platforms for public sector transformation. He will present on the topic, Digital Infrastructure for the AI Era, from data centers to edge computing. Please welcome him on the stage for the presentation. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I'll try and stick to 10 minutes. I've been reminded about that. So, first of all, I'm really humbled and honored to be part of this august audience. Thank you for making us part of this journey. Recode has been something which we are really proud of being associated with. So, I really truly appreciate this opportunity. Okay. So when we talk about the building the digital infrastructure, when we are really talking about how are we really looking at giving these kind of services, my friend earlier talked about the availability of network, which is really driving the adoption of the cutting edge technology for each and every aspect of life. Okay, so this is essentially also leading to a lot of usage. So I still remember, when we possibly started the internet era, we used to struggle with those 200 kbps of bandwidth. Today, possibly 300 Mbps is also less. My kids complain that even 300 Mbps, we should look at a 1 Gbps kind of network, right? That's the kind of thing. The first thing which we do, and that's become our habit of life, right? So when we go to sleep, the last thing which we do is look at our smartphones. And the first thing what we do is when we get up is again look at our smartphones, as if the world would have changed till the time I was sleeping, isn't it? So essentially what is happening is, okay. So what's happening is, if I really talk about the next era of technology which is being seen as the next wave, AI, right, or artificial intelligence, that's the topic which I'm discussing today. It's everywhere. Now, whether it is, the things which my friend was talking about, the convergence of networking with the kind of utility services, whether it's things like what's happening in the healthcare world, whether it is in terms of citizen-centric services or governance, right, the way citizens are expecting more and more conversational mechanisms to talk to the government, okay? Or whether it is, for example, you just now heard of 5G being consumed more and more, right? So building of some things like digital twins, okay? So essentially what's happening is with so much of data being available, we are seeing that, the consumption of data to build intelligence out of it is definitely something which is pushing the boundaries of what compute power or, networking power is available today. And, to add to that, the next wave, what we are seeing is generative AI. I'm sure everybody would have by now heard of generative AI, and you're already experimenting with generative AI. Okay? So while AI started off with the thought process of how do I collate all of the data, bring a lot of intelligence out of it, the next wave what we are seeing is generative AI. And if you see from a government perspective, we are seeing a lot of proliferation of generative AI being used into 3 specific buckets, right? So one aspect of using generative AI is how do I help in operational transformation. Now when we talk about operational transformation, it's all about, let's say, how is generative AI, which is a new area of intelligent automation. When we really talk about forms of automation, it could be whether it is documents getting summarized, whether it is insights being given. So for example, the other day we were talking about how is an organization automating the whole process of, possibly in the government sector, it becomes very, very relevant. RFP generation itself. RFPs is a very much critical aspect of any government process. So RFP generation is a manual process today, and it takes a lot of time to really come out with new RFPs. How about usage of generative AI to possibly say that, okay, here are the PQ and TQ of my RFP, here are the mechanisms in which the technical evaluation will be done, and the whole process gets automated. Not only that, you could also get to that level of saying that, okay, based on the historical documents, can the system generate new RFPs for me? Why to stop at that? Why not move to a further extent that, while I am generating the RFPs using AI, can the evaluation also start happening using AI? At least the PQ and TQ, wherever manual interventions are required, you will obviously get into that. Okay? That's the first element of operational efficiencies or transformation. Another example is citizen-centric service delivery. More and more citizens are wanting to interact with the government to have better services being delivered to them. And this could be as simple as, if I am a citizen, I would want to complain about problems which I have in my locality, right? And when I complain about these, these aspects of wherever I'm seeing problems, how soon is that getting addressed by the government? And I want to have a transparent mechanism in which all those complaints are getting tracked. Okay? So when we talk about the citizen-centric service delivery, it's all about those government agencies who are wanting to use those generative AI to create more responsive or personalized care for the citizens. The third element is, while all of this is going on, there is also a halla around whether AI is the best thing to do. There is also a concept of responsible AI. AI can keep on giving you a lot of data. AI can give you a lot of insights. AI can give you summarization of documents. But every time you use AI, there could be aspects of, because AI is, at the end of the day, it is machine learning. Since it is machine learning, it is also prone to errors. Can you blindly do everything which AI tells you to do? Possibly not. So hence responsible AI, when especially it is being used for governance purposes, when it is being used by the government, the key element is how can I bring in the responsible AI elements into it. And what is this leading to is a mechanism in which we are seeing a lot of data being used, and with so much of potential, from why is this technology which has been percolating for decades seeing so much of interest now? It has reached its tipping point. When I say it's reached its tipping point, it's basically because of the convergence of technological progress and what it could accomplish, right? So with the massive proliferation of data, in fact, my earlier colleague also spoke about that, you are seeing high scalable computing capacity is something which everyone is asking today. Previously, it was all about, okay, let's bring in a PC, let's bring in a printer. Today, let's talk about megaflops. Let's talk about GPUs. CPUs conversations have gone now. Everywhere I go, the conversation is, can you give us GPUs? Okay, that's how the conversations happen. Now, what's really happening around because of this is, okay, there's a lag, sorry about this. Okay, so what is really needed when we're really talking about if the government is looking at an AI-powered governance, right? When I talk about AI-powered governance, I'm looking at the clock also parallelly. So the first and foremost is, when I look at a whole AI stack, right? When I talk about an AI stack, it means the capability of building those applications which are AI ready, right? So a full-fledged AI stack, that's the first and foremost which typically organizations look at, right? So can to look at an AI-powered government, the AI-powered government should look at a full-fledged AI stack. That's the first thing. The second element is the ethical deployment of it, or let's talk about the responsible AI. That's what I mentioned about the second part. Third part, which is very, very critical, is it is about the experience. So when I talk about unmatched experience, which helps government implement the modern data strategy. See, data is everywhere. How can I use that data to really give that kind of an experience? So it could be departmental data, it could be structured data, it could be data which is there on social media, because like everything which I don't like today, the first and foremost what I do is I possibly put up a social network message. So can all of data be collated together and bring insights out of it? That's the element of AI-powered governance. And last element is, while all of this is okay, how do I maintain security, privacy? Because, security is one of the core element which will either make it successful or it will go down the drains. So when I really talk about that, so what do we do as at AWS or Amazon Web Services? Now, how do we try to differentiate ourselves? How do we make sure that each of those components which I spoke about? So first and foremost is the security element. So security is the number one priority which we try to dwell upon, okay? We try to give the most secure and comprehensive cloud for government, okay? Including all the compliance requirements, all the requirements of privacy, all the requirements of data sovereignty, everything in place. Second, the unparalleled computing experience. When I say about unparalleled experience, it's not about the applications being hosted out of, let's say, a data center which is hosted on cloud, okay? It's also about how do I use, you just now heard about the edge being used using 5G kind of a connection. So can I have a seamless experience of the applications being used in a compute environment which scales seamlessly between your data centers, edge networks, as well as cloud? The third element is the generative AI piece, right, where it is about choice and transparency. Why should I bind someone to use only a specific model? I mean, whoever are playing around with generative AI, there are LLMs which are getting announced every second day, isn't it? There are LLM versions getting upgraded every fortnight possibly, okay? Now, how do I make sure that whatever applications which I'm building, it doesn't get bind to that level that an upgrade itself becomes impossible? So how can I make it more and more open in nature? And when I talk about this whole development stack also, it's all about developing a responsibility, whether it is security aspects, whether it is privacy aspects, whether it is making sure that it should not start hallucinating to such an extent that it gives me an answer which is completely irrelevant to me. Can it talk to my data sources, which is my own data, rather than hallucinating from internet, taking data from anywhere else? So moving forward, so from an engagement per se, what we typically, when we work with any government organization, what we see is, how do you really start, putting the right set of questions whenever you're interacting, when you're evaluating, let's say, cloud? First is the infrastructure itself. Now, why global infrastructure is important here? It's not just about giving services within the periphery of the country. It's also about the scalability of such an infrastructure across the globe, because today your startups might be starting off with by, let's say, putting up their shop out here in Kerala, but then tomorrow they might want to scale out. They might want to give services to some customers of theirs who are located globally, right? So how, whenever an infrastructure is chosen, how can you have an infrastructure which is scalable globally? Security is, as I said, security is something which we live day in and day out, right? So how many third-party attestations are there? How many, whenever you put up an infrastructure on cloud, are they ready to meet to the needs of global security norms? Not just in India. Innovation, very, very, fundamental element of how much of innovation am I putting in to make sure that there is investment happening to make sure that each and every new age technology is being made available. And finally, everything comes down and bottles down to the cost. So moving forward, when all of these things are brought in together, whoever is controlling, can you go to slide number 13? So on one aspect is all the elements of cloud, which is the elements of compute and computing services being available from the data center. And when I extend that to the edge, when we extend it to the edge, it's all about how that edge is talking for providing compute services on premises in your own locations, wherever those compute services are required, to extending it to cloud. And the design principle, what Amazon Web Services has done is, looking at, there are certain concepts out here. So there's something called a availability zone. So essentially in India also, we run 2 regions. So you would have heard this, that, we operate out of 2 regions. So region for us is a cluster of data centers. So at any point of time, there won't be a situation where there will be failure of your services. Okay, that's how the resilient design can be done. Okay. So, and then when we extend that same infrastructure for providing services on edge, that's the kind of seamless experience what we're talking about, that while you can keep on running your edge compute nodes, your infrastructure at the back end is scalable and robust enough. Okay? Can you go to slide number 15, please? And on the development side, when you want to develop an application for AI, which is around AI ML stack. So AI ML stack is the whole list of the complete either frameworks or the different type of tools which you bring in for making sure that you are able to use the different kind of backend infrastructure. And this infrastructure is irrespective of that, whether it is a virtual machine, whether it is even the different kind of processors. And then in terms of services, when we talk about AI services, it could be different kind of services which can be brought in. Whether it is translation, whether it is things around automation of business processes, whether it is to make sure that, all the, let's say, all the cameras which are capturing video content is also able to, we are able to decipher from that. Okay, so I know I am out of time. I'll just take 1 minute in just giving you a quick glimpse of a couple of examples of how we are using AI. Okay. Slide number 27, please. So I'll not take much time here, just to showcase a couple of examples. And I want you to think around these examples. Why I'm showing these examples, that these are the possible use cases which you can think of, developing solutions around AI, right? So for example, here we are talking about how do you do a AI-driven traffic management, okay? How do you do, let's say, in terms of building of solutions of safer cities, how you build applications. Next, chatbot for Parliament, right? So Parliament, this is an example which we have done in European Parliament. So this is all about archival of data of all the proceedings which happens in the Parliament, okay? And retrieving summaries out of that, what happened during that particular time. So that's an example. Next, please. Again, an example around using of agentic AI for public safety. So I'm just calling out certain examples which might be relevant in your kind of scenario. Next, please. Then, complaints. I was talking about this a while back, right? So how do you make sure that whenever there is a complaint, there is a complete 360-degree view of that complaint getting redressed by different kind of agencies? So go to 32, please. So here's another example of, not only navigating through the city through the best route, what could be the best safe route. So based on, let's say, geospatial data, which really tells about how much of, let's say, the repair is going on, or there's, rain, water logging is there, so based on that. So a lot of applications can be built using AI, summarization. We can provide the compute power both at the data center as well as the networking edge to build these kind of solutions. So more than happy to collaborate with Kerala and rest of the country for doing these kind of initiatives. Feel free to reach us out, and thank you for your patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. And joining us now is Mr. Binu Nair, the leader of the Digital Transformation Office at Cisco Systems India. His work spans smart cities, IoT-enabled connectivity ecosystems, and enterprise public sector digital platforms. He will speak on the topic, Next-Gen Connectivity for Smart Living, Homes, Cities, and Beyond. Please welcome Mr. Binu Nair to do the presentation. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to come here and talk about a theme about future cities or smart cities. But the time given is a throttle, and there is a lot of things to talk about future cities, right? But we are living in an era where connectivity has moved from convenience to criticality. It is no more about being online. It is about living intelligently, securely, and sustainably, right? And if you look very closely, every element of smart living, from connected homes to autonomous cities, right? They are powered by one invisible but very vital layer. That's connectivity. And in terms of what we call as network. And I'm just going to divulge in the next 10 minutes, what are the flavors of connectivity and how do we build up a smart city, or what we call now a smart community going forward. At Cisco, we believe that what can be delivered digitally must and will be delivered digitally, right? And governments were early policy enablers, but now they have become digital catalysts, and their involvement is very vital to do any kind of such smart community-based infrastructure. When we say smart city, smart building, smart home, smart community, so we are looking at 6 key pillars, right? From digital transformation, where a citizen has any kind of data that is accessible to him at any point of time, right? That is one of the key transformation objectives. Security, end-to-end. It's not only about user, not only about network, but application, and ensuring a complete end-to-end security. Digital inclusion, which means that everybody in a remote community to low-income community, everybody has an access to digital health as well as education in a seamless manner, right? And of course, resiliency and reliability has been the core aspects of building any kind of smart infrastructure. We heard how AI is impacting a lot, and AI throws a lot of data, right? So how do we look at the data, and how do we create observability, visibility dashboard out of collecting all these data metrics to take actions between multiple applications or multiple infrastructures, right? And finally, most critically, how do we train the workforce in government to be at par with all these technologies in a seamless manner, right? So these are the 6 major areas, or I will say major trends, which is key in building the smart communities. So again, resilient infrastructure, right? Secure, resilient, and agile. These are the foundations for any kind of smart community which we are reimagining. And there are 5 pillars, right, on making these things. Inclusive infrastructure. When I say inclusive, it is not about just creating infrastructure. It is about ability to how fast and how many nodes can I seamlessly deploy or configure and get it up, right? Data, as we spoke about, data is completely prevalent. So you have data coming from multiple sources in IoT, multiple source of network, multiple source of applications from AI, and all are getting collated. So you need a data visibility platform which can actually see and correlate how your data metrics are getting evolving. And finally, end-to-end security from user to network to application, right? How do we build the complete end-to-end security? Finally, the most important track is sustainable. How do we create a sustainable, low power consumption, more greener ecosystem? And how do we promote these things while we build up a smart community? Because that is the thing which is going to trigger all these smart communities. So innovation only begins when there is connectivity. If there is no connectivity, it's very hard to innovate, right? And government has a very major role to play in this entire sector, right? If you see traffic management, and I think the speaker before me just spoke about multiple routes visibility or safer route visibility, right? So in a city like Kochi, where you have multimodal transport mechanism, water metro, normal metro, rail, road, right? Which transport mechanism will be able to reach point A to point B and at what time, right? So all these needs large amount of IoT coming into play and giving you real-time data to figure out and make your life more easy. Smart communities is all about making the end customer or citizen's life much more easy to live with. Real-time information from public transport system. This is one of the major areas. So if you have a real-time information on the availability and the movement of public transport, right, and it is available as a notification, as a message to you on your mobile phone, right, it makes much more easier for you to use public transport. But today, majority of the public transport are not used because we don't have visibility of how and when and from where I will connect. What are the different modes of connectivity, right? Finally, street light, which for sustainability, there is a lot of LED being used. And it has been last, I think, 7-8 years, India has been pushing a large for LED usage in the street lights and industry. So sustainability has been one of the core. So these are the 4-5 major areas where, and it needs a lot of push from government to drive these schemes. How do we create this entire connected community infrastructure, right? One of the most important part is of fiber backbone infrastructure, and that is where Kerala is blessed to have KFON, Kerala Fiber Optical Network, which already is driving across and creating and connecting. And then we have, as we heard from our previous speakers, Reliance is also having large amount of fiber infrastructure. So connectivity and the ability to connect across multiple mediums, or be it transport, street light, parking, and using of a reliable infrastructure to connect all these things is the key to drive smart communities. So as we spoke about IoT, it's very complex and it's very widespread, right? So it is there from transport and logistics to your wearables, to smart buildings, to industries, right? It's spread across multiple domains, and it is very complex to manage these IoTs, and they have various types of demands of IoT. And IoT is very critical in creating a layered infrastructure for smart communities. Oh, I think slide is not moving, sorry. Yeah, now it's moving. And these IoT are driven by multiple different types of sensors, and majority of them works in wireless. Now, while they work on wireless, they are classified in multiple different categories: high throughput, low latency, low throughput, one-way transmission, two-way transmission, depending on how and where we use this. And considering these categories, they are classified into multiple different categories of 4G, 5G usage, where Jio, Airtel, and multiple operators are now giving NB-IoT, right? And they are promoting high throughput IoT devices or SIM-based sensors to throughput data. And wherever there is a low power, which is like agriculture sensors, right in mid of the field, there is no power availability. You use LoRa and multiple different mechanisms to communicate back to your dashboards or central locations, right? Wi-Fi is again one of the key areas as part of IoT for giving internet services across. So IoT and digital infrastructure or a fiber backbone is a must to survive and create a smart community. Yeah. So these are just global trends on IoT front only to see and give you a view which all the areas are IoT touching, from building automation to EV. Now the EV proliferation is increasing in country, right? Every home in the next 5 to 10 years will have an EV. So how do we ensure that we give green power to charge the EV during the night time, right? How do we give sustainable power for EV charging? So that means my connected utilities has to be connected and has to be smart enough to understand the usage and drive towards energy being sourced from greener sources. So this all come together can create ecosystem. This is just a snapshot. Oh, it's not changed. Sorry. Yeah, it's just a snapshot of what Cisco is currently looking at from IoT spectrum and how different use cases are getting in. One of the interesting area is service providers have started up coming into the market and offering IoT as a service. And to a large extent, we saw earlier speaker talk about smart agriculture, right? Multiple use cases. So these are all part of where IoT is coming into picture. Next. Yeah. Leveraging K-phone, right? Now, Kerala has this unique opportunity today, and K-phone is a game changer. It provides the optical backbone needed for scalable, secure, and inclusive digital infrastructure. Yeah. Okay. So imagine integrating K-phone with smart transportation, right? With public safety, with education, with healthcare services, right? What could be the outcome, right? When you do an intelligent networking of K-phone and with all these periphery of services, right? And with security layers added on top of it, you get a capital efficiency, you have the best operational utilization, and the public-private collaboration. I think these are the key things which can build a true smart, what we call smart model for Kerala or the state or the nation itself. Yeah, so I'll just skip and go to the next slide. Yeah. So as our speaker said, security is one of the key areas where which is essential. And if there is no security, the entire model of smart community, smart city will not work. It will fail. So in Cisco, Cisco and the NIST talks about something called zero trust architecture, right? Where we assume nothing but verify everything. That's a zero trust, and it's a loop back. It's a looped mechanism where you see the next slide. Yeah. So first we identify, establish trust, right? Then we enforce those trusts based on where you are, what your user, what your policies are, what your credentials are, and then we continuously verify, continuously look till your session is running, whether you are the same user with the same intent, the same content being read. And finally, if there is a response to your behavior or your change, interest, we look at how do we categorize as a risk and take action on it, right? So safety, can move forward one more. Safety has been, next. Yeah, thank you. So digital evolution has been a critical task, and it is a very difficult task for governments today, as of now. The government has huge challenges. They have outdated infrastructure. Yeah, they have a lot of application issues running. Yeah, and they need to do a lot of AI usage to simplify operations, right? Cybersecurity, again, complete end-to-end cybersecurity stack has not been there. So that is something which has to be built up. And finally, the workforce has to be reimaged to support all these end-to-end technologies, so this is what government's challenges today is to come up with a sustained or smart communities. Can you move to the next year? I would like to, final pitch is, this next-gen connectivity is a new oxygen for our digital societies, right? It connects home, it connects offices, it energizes cities, it empowers industry, right? So if you see, it is a vision to create an inclusive future for everybody, right? Where connectivity doesn't just enable communication, but it drives creativity, sustainability, and equality. So it's not about connecting things. It's we are looking at connecting lives, and Cisco can play a larger role to work with the government to see how we can interact and create a more effective systems. Yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, sir. And next up, we have Mr. Benel Thomas, Senior Manager at EY, specializing in cyber resilience, risk management, and digital infrastructure advisory for both public and private sectors. He will share his insights on the topic, Cyber Resilient Infrastructure, Building for Trust and Continuity. Please welcome Mr. Benel Thomas with a bigger round of applause, everyone.
Thank you. Good evening, all. First of all, I would like to thank the Kerala government for this initiative and KFON coordinating this. It's my pleasure to be here, and I'm sure that I'll finish in 10 minutes. I have three reasons for that. First reason is that I have a train to catch. Second thing is that my previous speakers, they put my base, so I just need to ask one first slide. So that will answer the question for my session. And the third thing is that I have been warned that at 5 o'clock there's a closure ceremony, so I had to close by that. Okay. So I don't know if it's 9 minutes applicable for me also. Anyway, all right, so this is something very close to my heart. Okay, as I said, my previous speakers very well said, okay, how they are going to connect the cities, the people touching the across, especially considering the terrains of Kerala, right? First thing I want to ask is, what is our outage tolerance, or tolerance to the outage? And I want to take you through a journey of 3 decades. I hope most of us have seen the life of 3 decades, except me, maybe. I'm still in my 20s. All right, so if you see, I will take a small analogy which you can relate. Around 2000 was the time when the more and more bank was pushing for the ATMs and then issuing the cards, right? Before that was like we have to go in the queue and wait for the cash, take the token, right? It will take time. We are okay to wait. We accept that. And towards 2010, we have all the card usages, right? Most of the people are using the cards. It comes the credit card, debit card, and at one single swipe, things are happening. And we rarely go to ATMs to, pull out the money, right? And in case one ATM is not working, okay, we are okay to go to the next. That's fine. But by 2020, what's happened is that with the COVID around, we have the UPI or the mobile payment apps. Now, we don't even go to ATMs. Okay, and the things what happen change is that over a period of time, now we go to and we want to do the transaction, UPI is not working, we get frustrated. Okay, we will search our pockets, no cash. Okay, either we return that or we will ask someone can support us. So what you see is that outage, the tolerance to the outage is coming, getting deteriorated. I don't know what's going to happen by 2035. So that's where I think the answer of we are looking forward to you, sir, both 3 of you, right? And I want to say, Cisco, I think 19 years back, I was one of the person who had experienced telepresence. I was amazed. I could not believe that could be made possible for common people. Now it's common people using that, yeah. So moving next, please. So cybersecurity or resiliency, right? It have to change from a gatekeeper role to enabler role, especially of the technology people who are working, they know that. They put a lot of hard work to bring the technology. And I can say that we are experiencing that. cybersecurity, I've realized that I see CISOs and CTOs sitting together discussing and making that, but still have to move forward. The reason is that because business need to leverage latest technology. CISOs or cybersecurity cannot say that, okay, so-and-so reason, this cannot be permitted. It is not helping the society, it is not helping the organization. Similarly, security getting embedded into the business operation. In old times, there was a job of 1 or 2 people, a team, but now it's moving into the integrated part of the overall operations. Even the access management, now access management at the business level, they have to authorize that, okay? So it is getting shared. And then need for optimization and efficiency. It's a huge push in every sector, okay? Previously, operation technologies and plans, and there was not much, embracing the new technologies, but I see that there's a lot of optimization happening, okay? Now, the speed in execution, I don't need to say that, okay? The speed in execution which the generation is demanding, and this all have to be done if only because if the cybersecurity going to be enabler. Next, please. Okay, and this was a base I want to add to that, digital trust, okay? For effective manner of conducting the all internet activity coming in the current era, it's important is that what's my data, where is that going, okay? It can be privacy part, right? Overall, for an organization to work, there's a digital trust is very important. It is a digital trust framework of World Economic Forum, and I was also checking with Amitabh ji, right? Reliance is part of that. Like that, around 1,000 plus big organizations are around the globe who can influence the market, who can influence government are working on that. And digital trust framework focus on, have 3 main goals: security and reliability, accountability and oversight, inclusive, ethical and responsive use. It have 8 other dimensions under this. I will not touch base on all of those because of the time limitation, but it has transparency, it has privacy, cybersecurity, availability, user safety and all. Okay, so on top of the technology, this is what as at the end of the day as a citizen we will be looking forward. Next please. To have a resilient cyber, we have to move from a reactive to proactive, okay? So it is connected from the previous slides, if you see. First thing is that having redundancy, okay? That means we cannot, as a society, go for a single point of failures. We have to identify all single point of failures and address that at a state level, at a country level, at the organization level, okay? And being preparedness previously was more like a anticipate, more of waiting and reactive. Now it's moving to be more anticipated. We have to be anticipating that what could go wrong, okay? We were listening to the police case studies, and they were saying that they are moving into solutioning where they will analyze data and see that what crime can possibly happen, right? So anticipating with a lot of analytics capability with the quantum computing on the corner. And then incident management becoming more of with the predictive analytics and cybersecurity operation and incident management working together, right? Fourth is of leveraging AI. Leveraging AI with autonomous response systems, it is necessity. If not, our adversaries would. If we can say no to that, we can stay away from that, but at the end of the day, our adversaries, when they do that, okay, for all kind of wrong reasons, we will be forced to do that, use that. Vigilance, a continuous vigilance, okay, which has been touched base in the previous session. Then operating model, very important to have an operating model which should be seamlessly working within the organization, and same with the integrated manner, especially in Kerala or state where we have multiple departments have to sit together and ensure that the cybersecurity is taken care. Next, please. So what we can expect, this has been clearly touched base. We have seen a lot of discussion on the IoT boom that can happen, more wireless connectivities, innovative with social engineering, that's on the negative side. I will come to that. Demand for large data analytics, okay, to enhance commercial activities. One important thing there is that for Kerala, usage of universal internet usage per 100% is 99. And interestingly, In rural, it's actually 400, it's 149 device, okay? More than urban. So demand for large data analytics, because each of these connectivity is tending to be a business, okay? And adversarial attack using agentic AIs, not just generic AI, autonomous AI, which can be take more attacks. And because of that, there'll be a lot of more innovative social engineering attacks happening, which we will be tricked to that, yeah? And hence, there's a need for adaptive incident management, considering all the technologies which is latest available. Next. So what should be the preferred ecosystem? I was discussing with a few young minds. So the answer I got, it was also something that I can agree. One is that all of them want to try latest technology, right? In 2031, if you say this technology, I will, 2 minutes, max. There's no opportunity for experiencing new technology that may not be looking good, and it will not help the society. And there will be a faster and resilient communication network, 6G around the corner, maybe by 2030, as per the information provided. Then having a strong standards and guidelines. As an ecosystem, there should be a strong standards guideline coming out, and having an integrated cyber crisis management, okay? And there will be a cyber literate society. We are already set at digital literate society, moving from there to taking a step forward, being cyber literate. And you can also focus on center of excellence for CISOs, because any organization to operate, they need to have a good excellence of the CISOs, which mean the cybersecurity professional, which is required to operate in a digital world. Thank you. I think
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. And finally, for this session, we have Mr. Murali Krishore RS, CTO at KPhone, the state's ambitious initiative to deliver unified broadband across Kerala. With his technical leadership in building scalable, inclusive optics and digital access, he will speak on the topic Towards a Unified Digital Ecosystem, KPhone's Vision for an Inclusive Kerala. With a bigger round of applause, please welcome Mr. Murali Krishore RS onto the stage.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So I will be cut short my speech in 2-3 minutes because our closing ceremony is going on there. We have to deliver the closing note there also. So thanks for the strategic foresight and expertise delivered by our industry leaders and expertise. And the session collectively address the evolving architecture on the digital infrastructure on majorly 4 main pillars, which is broadband access, then large-scale IoT development, then cyber resilient, next-gen technology, digital infrastructure for AI era. These 4 pillars of digital transformation find a natural convergence to KPhone. So, Kerala Fiber Optic Network. So, Kerala Fiber Optic Network stands a foundational enabler for aligning seamlessly with Government of Kerala's 2031 vision to build an inclusive, intelligent and resilient digital society. Before we explore the digital convergence of this technology, let us see where KPhone stands today. So, next slide. So, I will quickly go through network at a glance. The KPhone, Kerala Fiber Optic Network, already established around 32,000 of kilometers of fiber, and we have 2,600 kilometers of PGW backbone, and we have 375 POPs, which are point of presence. We located at KCBL substations, which are basically the gateway for internet access to a particular district. We have our data center at InfoPark Kochi and DR at Trivandrum at KCBL. Next. So this is our architecture, core architecture, where we have an IP/MPLS network, where we categorize to core aggregation, pre-aggregation and spur, where the data connectivity can be given to nook and corner of to the entire state at any point or any regions. Next slide. So this is our DWDM core network where we established the DWDM network across the state. We carry the high traffic throughout Kerala. Next slide. So this is our strong access network on last mile connectivity, where we have deployed the GPON architecture, where the end offices, the government end offices and the customers are getting connected. Next slide. So these are the achievements where KFON, even though we have initial hurdles of pandemic disruptions and infrastructure issues, we have achieved, in the last 1 year, we have achieved different type of licenses like ISPA, NLD license. Then we have achieved, we have offices across Kerala, and we have ISP. We also got ISPA license, which we have we can establish connectivity throughout India. And we have currently we have a customer base of 1,30,000. Next slide. So these are the services which we offer to government and enterprise. So FTTH, IL Internet Lease Line, MBLS, VPN, and the dark fiber leasing also is part of that. Recently we have given the OTT services also. Next. So these are the major areas which we focused on: the government institutes, enterprises, rural connectivity, tribal hamlets, and partner with other telcos where we can connect, where we can act as a backhaul for the telcos, connecting the telecom towers. Next slide. So these are the transformation stories which we can narrate. Next. We have already connected the government office, 30,400 government institutions to provide governance to citizens. Next. And we have connected economically weaker households of 14,000, free internet to economically weaker households. Next. These are the happy families with KFON connectivity. Next. So this is the free internet connectivity to tribal villages. We have connected to the tribal villages, the KFON with CSR initiative. We have connected different tribal hamlets, and we are giving free internet connectivity. Next. Next. And we also planned, and we are already given a Wi-Fi access point to different remote colonies in Kaniyampeta, Wayanad. Next. And we have also established a point of presence at Attapadi in tribal village, where we can serve the customers in that remotest area, remotest villages. Next. 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 So we support in disaster situations also, and so KFON as we evolved, we are much ahead, and we are capable of delivering high-speed internet to most of the remotest areas, and we are trying to achieve the more number of customers in a very short period of time. So I am just stopping here, and I have well taken care of the points which we discussed, like universal high-quality connectivity, digital infrastructure for AI era, next-gen technology for smart living and beyond, and cyber-resilient infrastructure. So this will be incorporated in our KFON architecture and KFON network. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. That was our final presentation for the session. And once again, let's invite Sri Sriram Sambashiva Rao, Special Secretary, Electronics and IT, Government of Kerala, to present the mementos to our speakers as a token of appreciation. Requesting our panel coordinator, Mr. Suraj A., Manager at KFON, to also join on the stage. First, let's invite on stage Mr. Amitabh Bhatia, the Regional Business Head, South at Reliance Jio, to receive the memento. Suraj, sir, please join on stage. And next, let's have Mr. Alok Baidya, Head of Solution Architecture, India Public Sector at Amazon Web Services India. Next, let's have on stage Mr. Binu Nair, leader of Digital Transformation Office at Cisco Systems India. Next, let's have on stage Mr. Benel Thomas, senior manager at EY, to receive the memento. And finally, let's have on stage Mr. Murli Krishore RS, CTO at K-Phone, to receive the memento. And once again, requesting all the speakers to join on stage for a group picture with the mementos, please. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the conclusion of the sessions here at the meeting hall at Recode Kerala Vision 2031. On behalf of the Department of Electronics and IT and all our organizing partners, I extend our sincere gratitude to all of you. I hope all of you can still join at the main hall for the final session. Thank you so much. Have safe travels.